Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
What? What is...
For Christ before Jesus.
No, hey, Daddy's talking.
With your host,
Okay, well, say hi to your mom for me, so...
Jaron Wingo.
No, it's not a thing.
So sit back, tap the screen, and get your mythicism on.
Just to feel alive again, pushing forward through the night, aching just to lower aside. It's so far away. It's so far away.
Well, that was really strange. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was really bizarre. I don't know if it was a construction thing, a weather thing. I don't know what it was. I couldn't tell you, because not only did the internet went out. Not only did the internet go out, but the cell signal, my cell signal also went out. I don't know what happened. No, they're not even with the same company. Couldn't tell you what happened. No clue. But it happened. And I'm thinking I'm back. So we should be fine. But we for right now, we are good to go. Let's see. Cleon? Is that how you pronounce it? Cleon?
Yeah, good day.
What?
Yeah, good day.
Okay. It's really quiet there. It's kind of muffled, but what's up?
Yeah, when you arrive to this, that Jesus and Paul never exist.
It would be that the stories don't line up with the first century history as we know it.
Okay, I could ask you a personal question.
Does it have anything to do with the topic?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
It doesn't sound like it does, but please continue.
All right. Do you practice Islam?
No.
Okay. All right. The reason why I asked you it, right, because I come to realize the same claim that you make there, right?
Okay.
And then I have to question myself. If I come to this realization that Jesus never exists, how come this name Jesus rich in the Quran?
Because the Quran is written by people who are influenced by Christianity. That's why it takes from Christian texts from the 4th century, like the parable of the 7 sleepers and the infancy gospel of Thomas. The earliest iconography of Islam was a cross. They used to pray towards Jerusalem as opposed to Mecca. And the Quran doesn't show up for about 300 years or so, a little under 300 years, after Christianity became the official religion of the entire Roman Empire, which the Muslims come from the area right outside of it. They were right adjacent to it. They right up next to it. So it doesn't make any sense that the Quran would suddenly give evidence for Jesus. Islam is an offshoot of Christianity. It is nothing more than desert Mormonism.
I question it, and I wanted to know if Jesus never exists, how come this name end up in the Quran? And
because they're based off of Christianity.
I asked some brother who claim that them is learned brother, and them said that that the name wasn't Jesus, but the Quran that I used to use, I recognize the name Jesus inside. So I question, I said, if they could put in this name, what more they wouldn't put in, to support the text.
I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I really don't. I have no idea what you're even getting at.
All right, do I say your claim make a lot of sense? Because there's a concept that is looked to that the people never exist, only in a book.
Right. Yeah, it's just characters.
Yeah, it's not in a reality sense, but just in a book. And I see it all as storytelling.
Right. Yeah, it's just a story.
I just come for ask you how you arrived today because it's nice to see that you and people, even though that we never met face to face or know each other, we could arrive to the same concept
That
and
is good.
challenge you based on
It's
text,
definitely very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the way how I see it, and I pull away myself from religion. I being honest with you, you know.
Right. Yeah,
I pull away
it's
myself from
probably best.
religion. And I realize that this life, as you live it, you learn it. Do go down to others that you will want people to do to you, you know.
Right.
I won't want you to cuff me, so I will not cuff you, you know. I won't hurt you in no way because I don't want you to hurt me in no way. And there's life.
Right. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming up and kind of sharing your thoughts on it.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for bringing me up.
All right, thank you. Yeah, those are definitely a good. Yeah, the W for that guy there. Definitely a good caller there. Based, as the kids say.
Hello there.
All right, so let's see. Common sense ethics. Yeah, that's how we get to it. Let's see. Somebody chirping over there on the TikTok chat. On the TikTok chat, they're saying it takes a lot more faith to believe in nothing. What? Than something. What? LOL, I commend you guys for being so willfully ignorant. What? Well, that's dumb. Yeah, it was really weird. All right. D as F in the. Oh. Alrighty. Yeah, Taylor, as soon as he said, I would say yeah, that means no. Definitely. Yeah. I can't think of any time where that response could possibly be yes. If you have to preface by saying that you and you alone would say yeah, that's a no. Did you see the perpetrator do the crime? I would say yeah. All right, could you please remove your client from the from the bench or from the stand? Because in no way, shape, or form is this client an eyewitness anymore. All right. What happened? North Texas power grid go down? No, it wasn't that. I don't know what it was. I sincerely have no idea what it was. Whoa, bunch of German or something in there. Damn. Devastating. All right. Let's see. BC2239 says that's not even a fact. It's just rage bait. All right, well, come on up and we'll talk about it. It's rage bait that you don't have any evidence against, so that's weird. Must not be rage bait. It might just be a fact. Did my new CBJ pick help? No, it didn't. It made things worse, and that's probably why God shut down the internet. If you're on YouTube, welcome in. You can click the link that's in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and put it into the chat. And there's a little bit of a delay, so you may have to scroll up for this one, maybe. But yeah, click the link that's in the chat if you want to come up and have a conversation. Give me evidence for Jesus or Paul. Hopefully, if you got evidence, hopefully there's some good evidence you've got. The link will take you over to TikTok. That's how I take guests. YouTube doesn't have that ability. So if you don't have a TikTok or don't want to come over, don't worry. Send a super chat. I promise I will read it out loud and I will respond to it. So if you want to ask a question or make a statement, provide some evidence, or just call me the word of the week, which is a doofus. A doofus, then come on up. Come on up. I'd like to hear somebody call me a doofus. I think that would be fun. Also, the streamer of the week. Streamer of the week is Bree. Get it while it's hot, because eventually Bree will be dead cold. No, I'm kidding. I'm saying that Bree is actually not going to be going live for very much longer after this week. I think this Saturday is her last TikTok stream. So make sure to get your weekly dose of Bree before all samples run out. Polenta Forest, $2 there on YouTube says, I thought Jesus came and got you. Yep, he sure did. He came up and I was like,
Hello there.
yeah. And he was like, why have you been asking, or why have you been telling people that I didn't exist? And I said,
It's illegal for you to ask me that.
and he said, but I did exist 2,000 years ago. And I said,
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
and he was like,
What?
and I was like,
Yeah!
and finally he relented and was like,
Okay!
all right, so if you've got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. On the Rumble stream? I don't know. What? Storm said, I just saw her video. Yeah, she's not going live anymore. I don't know what the reason is, other than she is looking to market her name and likeness as the face of some kind of, I think, the Baby Bell, little cheese rolls, little cheese circles, cheese discs, whatever they're called. She's going into the cheese business. She is going to be a cheesemonger, or as they say in French, a mouse. Oh, here we got somebody that's coming up with some evidence for Jesus or Paul. Don't start rumors. I'm not starting a rumor. It is a known fact that she is a mouse. All right, Christopher De Leon. You there? Christopher, are you there? Going once? Going twice?
How about no?
All right, fine. Wait, what? Just now? Oh, yeah, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't do that at all. Wait, what? Wait, what? Is it official? Wait, what? No way. It's on people.com, but... Well, gotta go over to Wikipedia to confirm this. Yeah, actually. Well, goddamn. Damn, that sucks. That's bad. Dolly Parton just passed away. I didn't know it. I guess the news broke about an hour ago, maybe 15 minutes ago on people.com. Damn. All right, that's not good. But R.I.P. Dolly there. R.I.P. Dolly, definitely. All right. We've got some people here. Is it Oka?
Yeah.
Oka, Aka? Oka? Okay. Oka.
Okay. So I'm not like I think I haven't watched too much of like your stuff, but I think I have an idea of like like I think I read something in your book about the whole um where you like compare the authors with I think it's called Stylo.
Yeah, Stylo is the software that we use. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that to like is that to compare authorship or is that to
Mm-hmm.
establish um dating?
If I was able to confirm that you wrote something, it would need to be something that you wrote during your lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but like you're saying, oh, these two texts were written by different people.
Okay.
H- How do you is that where you derive a date from, or is that you derive it from another thing?
If you just take a look at telemetry, especially an unsupervised method like we're doing, that would be really stupid. What you've got to do is understand the actual like history from any kind of contemporaries of the time or anything like that from like the 2nd century talking about certain aspects. If we see that the Gospel of Luke is split into 2 authors, then that doesn't mean anything other than there's 2 authors. But when we actually dig into what was said about the Gospel of Luke, we can see that a situation where the Marcionites actually come out with their portion of or their portion of Luke, if you will, like their gospel, and then they claim that somebody added to it. Well, then, okay, well, there you go. Like there's the explanation because that's exactly what we see, as opposed to the other claims from the other side saying that Marcion took from the Gospel of Luke and ripped pieces out. It wouldn't look this way if that's what the case was. If it was actually written by somebody who also wrote Acts, all of Acts and Luke would come up together and it wouldn't show any kind of discrepancy between 2 authors in Luke.
Okay. Okay. Another question about like the Paul thing. Why do you think that Paul never existed? Or how can you
Because if
prove
the
Paul never
writings show up
existed?
in the 2nd century and we don't have any evidence that they come from the 1st century, then we can pretty much immediately take away Paul because Paul is presented by the New Testament as someone who is writing in the 1st century. Not to mention, there's nothing in the text that actually identifies him as the 1st century, and there's certain things in the text that identifies him as the 2nd century or even the 1st century BCE. So the Paul that's presented in the New Testament definitely didn't exist. Also, it's presented in Acts as someone who actually visited a synagogue in Jerusalem before the temple's destruction, which doesn't make any sense. So there's a whole lot of reasons why the Paul and the Jesus presented in the New Testament can't exist historically. Yeah, so it's not just stylometry. It's not just dating of the text. It's also just understanding the actual like historical uh, issues there within the 1st century that these things present.
What like secular like can you like derive that Paul never existed like just using secular sources like not
No one ever mentions
with
Paul. No one outside of Christianity mentions him.
how does that
So
mean
I
that
mean, I mean, we can't use. What I'm saying is that we can't use a secular source to say that he didn't exist if they never say anything about him. Do you have a secular source that says that Paul Bunyan didn't exist?
I don't
Okay,
even know what that
exactly.
is.
Yeah, okay. You have a secular source that says that Zeus didn't exist back then. No, okay, exactly. It's a nonsense question.
It's a nonsense question.
Yeah,
No,
because it's not.
I
That's
was just
not how we determine if someone didn't exist. Is if someone says this guy doesn't exist. We don't look for people
so
saying like we're not just walking around saying that John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt never existed. What are you talking about?
So, from my understanding, like you're just looking at the text and you're saying, okay, well, if Paul is a first century writer and nothing in the text leads me to that, like contradicts that this was written by this person is claiming to be Paul, and based on evidence, this was written in the 2nd century, then first century Paul can't exist. Is that like, am I just saying what you're saying? Hello?
So what's your evidence for Jesus or Paul?
No, I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that we don't need someone who says this person doesn't exist in order for us to determine whether or not they
I'm
existed.
I'm agnostic on the view. I just think that like making the positive claim that these people never existed.
Yeah, you can't go to a synagogue in Jerusalem before the destruction of the temple and before synagogues were in Jerusalem. So that's impossible, which means I'm capable of making a positive claim. The Paul that's presented in the New Testament did not exist. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look for some kind of evidence outside of it. And since there isn't any evidence outside of it, then we're done. I don't. There's no need.
So what do you say? Can you like give me like the reference of what you're talking about? So I
Yeah,
can write it
in
down.
Acts, Paul says, or Paul is presented as somebody who says, "Hey, I went to the synagogues in Jerusalem." And that's not the case because Paul dies before the destruction of the temple in 70, and there wouldn't be a synagogue in Jerusalem if if the temple is still there.
Okay. Is that like? Do you have another point?
Do I need one? I mean, I've already shown that it's historically impossible.
No,
So
I'm
what
just
do you
saying
need
like
now?
because I'm gonna like
Do you have any
I'm gonna
evidence
look at it.
outside of Paul
I just
outside
said
of
I'm
the Bible?
agnostic. I just said I'm agnostic on the
That's
issue.
fine. That's fine. So therefore, if there's an issue, if there's a problem in the text, and we can doubt it, then I guess you doubt it now because you're saying I need evidence either way.
I never even looked at what you're saying and
Okay.
actually understood the historical like context of what you're saying. So I can't.
Okay,
give
that's
you
fine. Well, then
an
just go
insight.
do that. I mean, I told you about it. You can go
Yeah.
fact check me. That's what I'd like for you to do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to like collect like what your claims of what you're saying so I can like
Okay.
write it down.
Yep. Well, start with that one and then try to find out whether or not that one has any merit.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. If anybody's got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Come on up. Let's see. Someone said Caesar. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's obviously not going to work. But yeah, just request up. The request button is right about here or down here. Come on up. Somebody named Matt there in the chat said Amara Bar Serapian letter to his son. All right, well, come on up. We'll talk about it. Go on Jeopardy. I am one of those people who watches Jeopardy and is just like, I don't know how. There must be some level of editing, maybe. I don't know, but like there is there is no way that I'd be able to even remotely get through a round of Jeopardy, let alone win it. I'd receive a study guide. Yeah, I mean that makes some sense. Do Jeopardy contestants get a study guide? Oh, it says no, they don't provide contestants with an official study guide. Advanced categories or sample questions. It says contestants, to maintain strict broadcast standards and fairness, yeah, sure. Producers do not give any hints or materials to players before the taping. Contestants see the game board for the first time live on stage. I think if you watch the show enough, you know like how it works and like what to do when certain categories pop up and how to present it. Because like personally for me, I would just forget to say what is or who is or where is. Like I would forget to do that, let alone actually know like because like there's hints that are given in lots of times in the category names. It's something that like starts with R or something like that, but like it doesn't necessarily say that. Like it'll say it in some weird way and you've got to decipher that. But like unless someone else deciphers it and then I'm like, oh, that's what you do, then I could probably do it. But like I wouldn't be quick enough to actually pick up on what's going on. I would get smoked in Jeopardy. Yeah. No, I'll sit there, like, I'll know the answers on some of the general questions and stuff like that. But whenever it's some, like, twist on how you got to say it or something like that, like, nah, like, that's not happening. Trevi Trev says, my wife and I are Jeopardy addicts. So, my wife and I actually just started watching Pop Culture Jeopardy with Colin Jost or whatever. And that's actually pretty fun. It's a little more tailored to stuff that I would sort of kind of know, but every once in a while they'll ask questions and I'm just like, I have no fucking clue. And it's because I didn't see some of those the biggest shows. Like, I've never seen an episode of Breaking Bad. I've never seen an episode of like Game of Thrones. I've never seen an episode of Sopranos. These are 3 shows I don't give a single solitary fuck about. I'm not even interested in watching any of it. 5 seconds of it, let alone an episode. But nevertheless, they're huge, they're popular, and I respect that. And people know a ton of it. I don't know any of it. So I would just sit there that entire time and just, nope. Let's see, the pen is mightier. The pen is mightier. If it was Disney Jeopardy, I'd have a chance. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in those, it's like, okay, yeah, I can maybe just go off of general knowledge for something. And I could probably, like, if I really tried pretty hard or something like that, I might be able to, like, clear a board, like, or clear it, not a board, but like a whole category or whatever, a column. But, like, I'd probably just get beat on all the others, so it wouldn't matter. What's going on? Oh, Uea.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
All right.
Oh, why is your name Christ before Jesus?
Because a Christ deity was worshipped by the mystery cult known as Christianity or Christianity before the mythology of Jesus was invented in the 2nd century.
Wait, what?
A Christ deity was worshipped by the mystery cult known as Christianity or Christianity prior to the mythology of Jesus being invented in the 2nd century.
Well, wasn't Christianity an outcome from Jesus?
No, that's like a mythological story that they come up with. Prior to that, we have Christianity. We even have some evidence going back as far as potentially 16 BCE. So no.
What is that? I never heard of this before. This is kind of insane.
So we have a cup. We have a cup that dates to the late 1st century BCE. There in Alexandria that says through
like a Holy Grail cup.
No, like just a cup, and it says on the side of it through Crestos the magician, and then we have an inscription over in Rome that dates between 16 BCE and 37 CE that mentions Christians, which is the title that Tacitus uses in his text in 116 called Annals, which talks about this group being blamed for the fire in Rome in 64, which Christians say is them. And then Justin Martyr, one of the most prolific Christian writers in the 2nd century, he calls Christians. And then the earliest codex for the New Testament, Codex Sinaiticus, calls Christians as well in Acts.
What is that? What is it with a K or something? What is that?
No, it's with an E instead of an I. So instead of Christians, it's Christians.
So what is that supposed to mean?
It means they're followers of Crestus. Crestus is a title that was given sometimes to a slave or to deities. It just means the good one.
Yeah, like isn't the Christ mean like the anointed one or something?
Yep.
So why so I guess Christ before Jesus, are you like what, like mocking it or something? Like what are you?
Nope.
Is it so? Is it like funny to you or?
Nope.
Is it part of your shtick or something? Or what is it?
Nope. I have no idea what you're even really talking to.
No, I'm just asking. Like, why is that your name? Is it like supposed to be a joke?
No.
So are you gonna answer? Or are you just gonna keep saying no?
You're asking a yes or no question, and I can't answer it properly.
No, I'm asking, like, why is it your name?
And I told you it's because the Christians had a Christ prior to the Jesus mythology. So I'm just
but why are you putting that as your name?
Because it's a reference to that belief.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess. Yeah. So you do have a question on your screen though that I guess I do want to take a jab at.
There's no question
I
up there.
think it says Jesus and Paul never existed. Prove
That's
us
not a
wrong.
question.
So what is it?
It's a statement. It's two different statements.
Okay, but you get what I'm getting at, though. Why are you trying to be a smartass?
Well, just trying to make sure, because you keep asking the same question over and over again, and I answered it properly, and I don't really know what you want, so I'm going to try to be very proper when I answer.
And I told you, now I'm going to ask a different one, right?
Cool. Well, go ahead and ask a different one, but nevertheless, you said that there were questions up there on the backboard or the background, and so I just want to make sure that.
Okay, you get what I'm getting at, big guy. Okay, so but I do think Paul existed because half of the New Testament is based off of Paul's writings.
Sounds good.
That's why I think Paul existed. Why is this like and Jesus too? Why is this like history agrees with Jesus and Paul?
So because a book is based off of somebody, I guess that means that they exist?
Well, I'm not like a historian or anything, but like I can tell you like the world and all of historians and history agrees with Jesus. You're like the only person that's like denying it. Do you think like people are gonna yield
Sweet.
to
Well,
it?
that's not even remotely close to true. But would you like to try again?
How is it trying again? History agrees with Jesus, buddy.
I don't know any history that agrees with Jesus. What are you talking about?
Most historians and most of the world agrees that historically there was a person named Jesus that lived 2,000 years ago.
Okay, cool.
That
There's
the
also
Bible
20
says
million people on this planet who think that the angel Moroni visited Joseph Smith in 1820s. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
The thing that I care about is evidence. Why do I care about a bunch of people believing something? Part of Christianity, there in the Roman Empire, people believed in Zeus. Do you think that because a bunch of people believed in Zeus, that's true?
Okay, well, you're denying evidence, so it's
Answer
not
my
like,
fucking question. Prior to Christianity, people believed in Zeus. Do you think that there was a guy on top of... Yeah, I know. So does it matter what people believe, or does it matter what evidence says?
Yeah, but there's a difference, though, because when you look at
No, there's not, because you appealed to the amount of people. You didn't appeal to evidence.
Yes, it is, because the Greek stories are widely accepted as mythology.
Cool. At one point in time, they weren't. So I guess, does it matter how many people believe something, or does it matter about evidence?
Okay, but it's a big difference, though, right? Like, if you have common sense. You can
So
see
again, do you think that evidence matters, or the amount of people who believe something?
Well, I think it kind of goes hand in hand.
Oh, really? Okay, so the amount of people that believed in Zeus meant that there was evidence for him?
No, but you have to think
Yeah, so I guess it doesn't go hand in hand, dipshit. Do you have any evidence for Jesus, or do you want to keep appealing to numbers?
Well, like I said, right? Like, I'm not like an historian or anything. But
We're all aware that you're not a historian, not even close, because you haven't provided any evidence.
You're not either, buddy. You're just trying to get...
Cool. So I am a historian by the textbook definition, and I also provide evidence. Do you have any evidence for your claim, or do you want to keep talking about numbers?
You're trying to like kick Christians or something. You're trying to kick the faith.
No, not at all. I'm just trying to present history. Do you have any evidence
for
your claim?
You get bullied as a kid or something? What's your deal?
Sounds good. Do you have any evidence as to why you think that Jesus existed?
Well, I would say number one, the Bible, right?
Okay, and how did you determine it was historically reliable when talking about Jesus?
Well, I don't know. From my knowledge, I think
I'm well aware that you don't have a lot of knowledge on this topic, but why did you determine, or how did you determine that it was historically reliable when talking about Jesus?
Is the Bible used as a historic reference?
No, it's not.
No, it's not?
It is not. Not by anybody who's like non-Christian or anything like that. That's not a thing.
Plenty of non-Christians use the Bible as a historic reference, though.
No, please tell me one.
What do you mean, please tell you
Please
one?
tell me one non-Christian who uses it as a historic reference.
Search up anybody that's a fucking historian. What are you talking
plenty,
about?
and you couldn't name one?
You're trying to be smart right now because you want me to name one, but everybody knows.
I'm trying to be smart because I asked you to name one when you said a lot, and you can't name one?
Okay,
that's
like
weird.
I don't.
So you came up here with a full chest of confidence, and you can't back up any of your statements? That's weird.
I don't do research on this subject.
I'm well aware that you don't do research on this subject. It's surprising to me that you've even opened up a Bible to read it.
Buddy. It's common knowledge, buddy. You're acting like
it's common knowledge. Then say a name of a person.
Say a name of a person. Do you want me to search it up for you or something?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll give you time. I'll give you 30 seconds.
What's that dude that debates with Christian, the atheist dude? What's his
name? You're now at 20 seconds.
Nick Fuentes, is that his name? Are you listening? Why are you playing music?
Because we're waiting on a non-Christian who uses the Bible as a historical reference.
That dude's an atheist. Is he not?
All right, so I need the name of someone who uses a non-Christian, by the way, who
Who's
uses
that?
the Bible as a historical reference.
Is that supposed to be a joke or something? What about
Nope,
Nick
I'm just
Fuentes, buddy?
okay. Yeah, and when does he use the Bible as a historical reference?
Oh, when he's debating.
Against who?
Oh my gosh. Do you want me to search up another person?
Well, you
Like,
didn't provide a
you're
name
trying
of
to-
anybody
you're
who
trying
uses
to-
it as a historical reference.
you're-
You also
you're
brought up a
using-
known
you're trying
racist,
to use
so
it- you're
maybe
trying to
you
use
should
this,
just go fuck yourself. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Grace here. Maybe Grace actually has some evidence. It's possible that Grace has actually read the Bible as opposed to the last cast, who I don't think is even capable of reading. What's going on, Grace?
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm on my daughter's. My name is Ben.
Oh,
I just saw I'm on my daughter's TikTok. I'm sorry for the
okay.
confusion.
So you're not a girl with her. Is that a finger in her mouth? Is she pointing to her teeth? What is that?
I'm not sure. She's silly, but I'm curious as to what your standard is for the existence of an historical figure, because you could look at someone like Julius Caesar and say, how does one prove that? Do you believe Julius Caesar existed?
Yeah, very easily.
Okay, on what grounds?
On the grounds that we have contemporary evidence for him, and we know exactly what he fucking looked like because we have coins, statues, and busts that all look the same and carbon dated to that particular time period, and sometimes have inscriptions on it that explicitly say that it's written at that time. We also have people who were contemporaries of him who wrote about him, but nevertheless, we do not have this for Jesus. We do not have any contemporary evidence for Jesus. We don't have any contemporaries writing about him. We do not have anybody citing any kind of contemporaries or as well. While we do have later text about Julius Caesar, they at least, these authors at least say who they are, say when they're writing, and they also say who they're getting their information from. But for the Bible, we don't have any of that for Jesus. Never is there a contemporary piece of archaeological evidence for Jesus. There's never any contemporary who writes about Jesus, and there's no one who later on identifies themselves and a contemporary as their source of information.
Okay, so the people, let's say the people who made statues of Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Why did they make those statues?
Does it matter?
Well, can you
I mean,
answer
you
the
just tried to, because they like the guy, because they wanted to. They're artists.
No, that's not how art worked. They were commissioned.
Art doesn't work. Okay, they're artists.
That's not how art worked in the ancient Near East.
You don't.
Those.
Well, that wouldn't make any sense because they're not from the ancient Near East. They're from Rome. So that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
When Julius Caesar was around? Was he around in ancient times?
Yeah, but that's not the ancient Near East. That would be over in Israel.
Oh, okay, in the ancient world. You're right. In the ancient Roman Empire. Okay, so the people who told stories about emperors, let's say, were generally employed by the emperor to do so.
Why do I care? We still have the proof of them. I mean, why do I give a shit? You're the one who brought up Julius Caesar to begin with.
Well, I don't know why it makes you angry if I say that.
It doesn't.
Is that true
it's just
or
that
not?
you're trying to talk about why they're making it. I don't care. You asked me how we know that Julius Caesar existed, and I showed you how we know.
Okay,
why
so you don't have to
why
be
they did it
defensive,
doesn't
but
mean
you can
anything.
just
I'm not offended.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
land
that
the
it's just a
plane.
waste of time.
Trust me, I'm going to land the plane if
Okay,
you
go ahead.
can't handle it. I'm just saying.
No, it's not that I
generally, the
can't
people
handle
who
it.
made
It's
the
that you're wasting
statues-
everyone's time.
Okay.
Does it
All right,
matter
I mean, you can
why
bounce me,
somebody
but
made a statue? Does that
trust me,
somehow?
I'm going to land the plane.
All right,
Just give
whatever
me a
your name
minute.
is, I don't know what your name is, but so
Ben.
I'm going
My
to
name is
refer.
Ben.
Ben,
My name
is that what you said?
Yeah, Ben.
Okay, Ben. Listen, does the intention behind the artist suddenly change whether or not we have the art? No, it doesn't. Let me go ahead and answer that
but
question
actually,
for you.
that's your exact point.
No, not at all.
Yes.
We have the art.
You're
that
saying the
dates,
intention of the writers of the New Testament matters in terms of whether the
when
person
did I
existed.
say anything like that? I just said that we don't have contemporaries. We have contemporary art. I don't care if they fucking hated the guy and they made a statue of Julius. I don't care if they made this statue while they were sucking on his balls. It doesn't matter at all. I don't care.
Okay, so
it's still we
if
still
the
have
sta-
the art. We
Okay,
don't have this
okay,
for
perfect.
Jesus. We have contemporary evidence for Julius Caesar. We don't have contemporary evidence for Jesus. You
Okay,
brought
but
up the
if-
comparison.
okay,
I don't
sure,
care
sure.
why. I don't care why they made it. I don't care who Julius Caesar is. You brought up the comparison.
Okay.
We have evidence
I may
for
be-
one guy and we don't for another. Move on.
I may be wrong, but like, okay, so I think if you say you acknowledge that the New Testament was written, correct?
Was it written? Yeah.
Okay, so that I would say is evidence. Why do you discount that as evidence?
Because it's like compared to Julius Caesar or just in general?
I'm just saying, why do you discount that as evidence? But like, yeah, compared to other,
because it's not contemporary.
most of what we have about Julius Caesar is written. Oh, you're saying it was written much later? Is that what your argument is?
I know. Or are you saying like the manuscripts or like the actual text? The actual text was also, yes, the actual text was written later. Yes, it wasn't written by a contemporary. The actual art that we have is from contemporaries. I don't care about the manuscripts. The manuscripts show up even later. But nevertheless, even the manuscripts.
So you disagree with
Julius...
most historians who say that the texts of the New Testament actually were quite close to the contemporaneous events, more so than most of the descriptions of Julius Caesar, et cetera, which were centuries later.
So again, they weren't centuries later. That doesn't even make any sense. Like Tacitus literally makes the lives of the 12 Caesars, so that's not even remotely close to true. But or not Tacitus,
most of which were not really close in time. Yeah, they weren't.
No, Suetonius is
According
pretty
to
damn close.
historians.
But that being said, as far as historians go, there is not a single shred of evidence that any of these New Testament texts were written initially. I'm not talking about the manuscripts. I'm talking about when pen hit paper for the first time.
Sure, yeah.
There is no evidence that any of these were written in the first century. None. Zilch. Nada.
Okay, so but historians disagree with you.
I don't give a shit. What do they use for evidence?
Well, there are references
like
in the New Testament to historical things that occurred then.
Can you write
very many specific...
Can you write a story of the Civil War? Could you
write a story of the Civil War?
Yeah. Could you write a story about like Abraham Lincoln or something like that?
I could, but it wouldn't.
Cool. Does that mean that it came out in the 1860s?
I
don't give a shit. The Gospels aren't very good. They constantly make all kinds of issues or problems and contradictions.
They're quite accurate historically.
No, not even remotely close. But that being said, could you? Yeah, it's not even remotely close. And we can get into that in just a second. But nevertheless, you can write a story about Abraham Lincoln. In fact, you could probably write a story about Abraham Lincoln that would be pretty good.
See that I don't have a lot of specificity. I got things wrong because I'm not really familiar.
Yeah. That's why we're able to see that the stories from the New Testament do not line up with the first century. Historians have known this for quite some time, actually. Like for instance, Luke 3. Let's take a quick look here. This is Luke chapter 3. This is one of the few claims there from the New Testament that tries to actively try to say when things are going on. Like Luke 3, it says, in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, so in other words, the year 29, because Tiberius Caesar starts his reign in 14, when Pontius Pilate was governor of Judea, that's perfectly fine. Herod was the ruler of Galilee, that's Antipas, that's perfectly fine. His brother Philip, ruler of the region of Iturea and Trachonitis, that's perfectly fine. And Lysanias, the ruler of Abilene. This is dog shit. This guy died in 33 BCE. He stopped reigning in 36 BCE. So, no. This guy died 60 years before everything else here. Like according to coins that we have specifically from Lysanias that say the year on it and everything. Like,
and how do you know about those coins?
Because we have pictures of the coins. We have coins, and on top of that, Josephus talks about Lysanias dying in 33 BCE. So yeah, it's dog shit. Like horrible. Not to mention, the Gospel of Luke explicitly talks about Jesus being born during the census of Quirinius, which we know happened in 6 CE, because we have inscriptions that talk about the actual the census that was taken and by people who were actually taking part in it or leading that census. And this census, again, it happens in 6. And then says back in that verse that we were on before in Luke 3, chapter 3 here. It says that Jesus was about 30 years old when he began his work. So what year do you think, or how old do you think Jesus was when he died?
I don't know. I do think the dating of 1 AD is not.
I understand. I'm not asking what year necessarily. What age do you think Jesus was when he died?
I believe he was 33 years old.
33.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Luke is saying that he is born during the census that happens in 6, if he dies at the age of 33, then what year would that be roughly?
I mean,
plus
I see what you're
33.
saying. 39.
Yes, 39. Not a problem. 39 is in fact a number, and it is in fact a year. But I would show you right here that Pilate was dismissed. Whoops. Oh, yeah, here we go. Pilates. No, Pilate was dismissed in 36.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
So
what you're
that
doing,
wouldn't make
but
a lot of sense. So if we're just going off of like what the Bible says, it is dog shit when it tries to come to like when it comes to like actually like dating things. It is really bad when it tries to put this into history.
Okay, sure. I'm not saying that. I don't think
so.
You're
That's why I'm saying that it's comparable to you writing a story about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, okay. You're just going to talk over me.
Well, you tried to say that like you writing a story about Abraham Lincoln would not look very well, and historians would be able to find out all kinds of problems. We know there's problems in the New Testament, so my analogy is not that far off. Now, let me ask you what my fucking point was. If you write a story about Abraham Lincoln, does that mean your book came out in the 1860s, or does that mean that your book could have came out in 2026?
It doesn't mean either thing.
Okay, sweet. So it could have come out in 2026, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
So just because there's things in the Gospels that start talking about some things back then doesn't mean that they came out right when those things happened. So that's my point.
Are you aware that there was a big movement to disprove the Bible?
What? Did somebody mute him? Oh, no. I don't know if somebody else muted him or if he muted himself.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my phone's just said turn on microphone.
Oh.
Are you aware that there was a big movement of secularism? People who were really motivated to disprove, to say things like you're saying that maybe there's a Christ mythology. This was big in the 19th century, early 20th century. And there was a lot of scholarship. There were a lot of, especially in like Germany, there was a lot of a movement in this direction. Subsequent scholarship has disproven
Do you know why?
those theories.
Do you know why? I mean, you pretty much laid out one of my arguments for me pretty perfectly, actually, because some people don't even believe me when I say it. You actually just acknowledged it without me even saying it. It's because of the fact that there is a... Oh, wait, hold up. So why is everybody saying what's going on? Give me 1 second here. What is happening? What's happening? What? Okay. Is your last name Thorpe? Ben.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, my last name is Thor, but I don't know why it's relevant.
Why are there plenty of videos of apparently you and whoever you're using the profile picture of? Like, why are there a whole lot of accusations of pedophilia?
There are no accusations of pedophilia.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, there's plenty of it. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, why are you even on your daughter's profile in the first place?
Pedophilia? What are you talking about? I've been accused of pedophilia. That's not true.
Or abuse at the very least?
Yeah. What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Because I don't panel pieces of shit.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stay consistent then. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to somebody else here. Weird as shit. That was weird. All right. Dillaprod, what's going on?
What's up with y'all?
Apparently I just had to kick a massive piece of shit from my panel.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know what that's about. But
yeah, it's really weird. I'd never heard of the guy before.
What makes you deny Jesus?
Deny Jesus?
In the simple term, yeah. What makes you say he's not real? Like, where is that coming from? I could believe if you say he's not God. Why do you say he's not real?
Because the stories that depict him do not line up with the first century.
Which is what? What's not lining up with the first century of the stories that they depict?
I mean, did you not hear me talking to the creep, like right before you?
And to that point, you're you're referring to other records that don't line up with the records of Jesus, but you believe those records, is what you're saying.
Like from contemporaries? Yeah, man. Why
Why do
wouldn't
you
we?
believe those, but you won't believe?
I literally just
Why
said the
would
word
you?
contemporary.
If
Do
you
you know what
can't
that
believe,
means?
but if you can't
Do you
believe
know
the
what the
records
word
of Jesus, why
contemporary
can you
means?
believe any record? What does it mean? Enlighten me.
Okay. Say, I don't know what it means, and then I will tell you what it means.
I just said that. I don't know
You
what
did
it
not.
means. Enlighten
Okay.
me.
So contemporary
Tell me.
means existing at the same time. Someone who is there, someone who is actually alive at the same time is giving a record, as opposed to the text from the Gospels that never claimed that they were written by somebody who was there.
So if someone wrote them down to the day and said, hey, this is, blah, 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 AD. I wrote this today. This is true because it was written
No,
in
you
the
just
day
have to at
that I
least
said it.
say that you were there. And the Gospels never claim that, or the authors of the Gospels never claim that they were there.
Does that make Jesus not true?
That makes the contemporary evidence more reliable than non-contemporary hearsay.
So do they say that Jesus was never a person? These
No, that wouldn't
records
make
you're
any
reading
sense.
that you're referring to?
That wouldn't make any sense. If Jesus was not a real person, they wouldn't be saying he's not alive today. They just wouldn't say shit about him, which they don't.
But that's obviously not true.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
What are all the manuscripts about Jesus? Are they just fabricated?
No, they're just copies of this text that comes out way later. It's hearsay. I don't give a shit how many copies of hearsay we have. I'm going to rely upon contemporaries, people who are actually there.
So what's your name? What's your name?
Jorko.
So if I wrote today that your name is Jorko, but someone wrote that your name is Jorko 50 years from now, but that still remains true, is that just false, or do you just, I don't know, you're going to believe the one that said your name today rather than who said your name 50 years from now?
In this particular instance, they both align, so sure. Why not? That was a really dumb example.
But in Jesus,
I don't think that you understand anything that I just said.
I don't think I'm understanding where you're getting all of this from.
That's kind of the problem. I mean, the Bible itself contradicts
Then show
itself,
me what
so
you're talking
even
about.
in these particular issues.
Okay. Who is saying Jesus doesn't exist? Can you show me that anywhere? Where is that being said?
Like, just
And I'll be
logic
like, okay,
itself, the
you're-
Jesus of the New Testament cannot exist because it contradicts itself. The New Testament contradicts
does it
itself when talking
contradict?
about Jesus.
How does it contradict itself?
Okay, you know what? This is a fun one. What day
Just
was
tell me.
Jesus? What day was Jesus crucified on?
I'm not sure.
What day of the
The
week?
exact day. I don't
No,
know.
the day of the week.
Sunday?
Nope, that doesn't make any
Sunday?
sense.
When?
Well, you've got 6 more options.
And you're also taking this from what people
The
have also
Bible?
said. Okay. So you can use the Bible, but
Do
you can't use
do
the
you not
Bible
believe the
whenever
Bible?
it contradicts.
Yeah, I'm using
I
it.
believe
This
the
is an
Bible,
internal
yes.
this is a contradiction. So I would need to use the Bible to talk about the contradictions found in the Bible, dipshit. That's how that works. If I pointed out if I said there was a contradiction between 2 books, I'm going to need to use the books to tell you where that contradiction is and what it is. That's the stupidest argument I've ever heard. You should feel stupid for even saying those words.
I'm listening. Let me hear
All right.
it. Let me
So,
listen to the contradiction.
where in the Bible does it say that Jesus was crucified? Is that in the Gospels?
Yes.
Okay, and have you read the Gospels?
I have read the Gospels.
Okay,
yes.
so what day does it say that Jesus was crucified? What day of the week?
I don't remember the exact day.
Well, literally all 4 of them talk about it.
Well, then why don't you
How
just
did you
enlighten
miss
me
that?
if you know?
Well, I mean,
Mr.
you've read
Mr.
the
Smart Guy?
Gospels. I'm trying to make sure that this is a litmus test, making sure that you even
just
know
told
what the
you-
hell you're talking
I
about.
just
You're
told
up
you
here
I
trying to
don't
say that
remember
Jesus
when-
existed and you can't remember something that's talked about in all 4 of the books?
When exactly he was crucified? The day I said Sunday. If it's not Sunday, I'll say Saturday. If it's not
It doesn't
Saturday,
even
I'll
make
say
any
Friday.
sense. Just think of the concept. What do they call the day that celebrates Jesus coming out of the grave within Christianity? What do they call that? What do they call that?
So is this about Bible
just
knowledge,
listen.
or are you going to
Just-
tell me?
I'm trying to get you to realize
I'm
exactly
waiting for
what
you to
answer
get to
is
the
without
point.
me telling you,
I'm
because you
realizing.
should actually know this.
I just
This is
told
pathetic
you-
that you don't. What is the name of the day?
I should know this,
What
but
is
I
the
didn't
name?
remember that.
Because
Resurrection Sunday. I understand what
there
you're
you go.
saying. Yeah,
So
yes,
is he
brother.
resurrected or
Yes, I
crucified
gotcha.
on Sunday?
He is resurrected on Sunday.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. And on Saturday, that was what within the story, within this Jewish practices that are talking about in the story. What is Saturday? What is that known as?
The crucifixion.
No. What is Saturday known as for Jewish people?
The Sabbath?
Yes.
You talking about the Sabbath?
Yes.
Okay.
Was Jesus crucified on the Sabbath, or did they take the body down so it wouldn't be up there on the Sabbath?
They took the body down. And
yes.
He rested.
Was he on the cross overnight?
No.
Okay. So if he's not on the cross overnight and they take the body down so it's not up there on Saturday, then he must have been crucified on Friday, which before Easter, before like Resurrection Sunday, they have a day where everybody's off from work and it's called
Are you talking about Saturday?
Nope, because you're already off from work on Saturdays. What's before that?
Friday,
and they call it within Christianity. What do they call that day?
I don't know. What do they call Friday? Good Friday?
Yes. God damn it. You should have absolutely known that. It's Good Friday, man. It's not that hard.
Right.
So, that being said, if he is crucified on Friday, then we can take a look.
You guys have a lot to say, by the way, for those that don't believe in Jesus. This is very funny.
It's because we've actually read the book and we understand that it's bullshit. You haven't read the book, so that's why you think it's like legit.
So is Jesus just not true ever? Doesn't exist?
Yes.
Never has?
Yep.
So who created Jesus, and why would they create
the Marcionites, and we can get that in a second.
Fine.
But anyways,
Why
John 19 explicitly talks about Jesus' crucifixion and his trial that leads up to it. Right here in John 19, verse 13, we'll start reading. It says, "When Pilate heard these words, he brought Jesus outside and sat on the judge's bench at a place called the Stone Pavement, or in Hebrew, Gabbatha. Now it was the day of preparation for the Passover. It was about noon. He said to the Jews, 'Here is your king.' They cried out, 'Away with him, crucify him.' But Pilate asked them, 'Shall I crucify your king?' The chief priests answered, 'We have no king but Caesar.' Then he handed him over to them to be crucified." So what time is Jesus in court alive before his crucifixion? What time is it here? It's right in the middle of
noon.
Yep, about noon. All right?
Right.
So he gets handed over to be crucified, and this would happen obviously later, is that when they actually go out and crucify him. So it would be afternoon when he gets crucified, right? According to John?
Right.
Okay. So he's crucified around noon or a little after noon, according to John. Is this correct?
Sometime afternoon.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good. So now we're going to go to Mark 15. It also talks about Jesus and his trial before his crucifixion. But then in verse 25 of chapter 15, it says, and I want you to read that verse right there. What does verse 25 say?
Says it was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him.
All right, there you go.
The encryption of the charge against him read, the King of the Jews.
Yeah, cool. But it explicitly tells you that it was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. Now, you just said that it was afternoon. So, really quick, is it possible to be crucified and 3 hours later make your court date?
If it's in the same day, no. And this is saying that's in the same day?
Yeah. Is he not crucified at 9 a.m. on Friday? What do you think? He was crucified on a different day or something?
I didn't see any of the context post the noon comment from John.
Okay. And what did it say there from John?
We read the entire chapter.
You don't need to read the entire chapter. It'll tell you right here. Nope. It says right here is the day of preparation for the Passover is about noon. All right. So he gets crucified.
For sure.
He gets crucified, and you believe that it would not. He wasn't overnight, correct? He wasn't on the cross overnight, correct? Correct.
No.
Okay. So this would mean
This would mean poke him. He's dead.
Yep.
They get his body.
It says right here. Let's see here. So since it was the day of preparation, the Jews did not want the bodies left on the cross during the Sabbath, so they take him off on Friday.
Right.
And since he wasn't crucified overnight, this means that he was crucified, according to the Gospel of John, after noon on Friday. Mark says on Friday at 9 a.m. John says on Friday afternoon. Which one is correct?
I'm not sure.
Is it a contradiction?
Let me see the 9 o'clock comment.
Yep.
Let me see the 9 o'clock comment and the noon comment.
Here's 9 o'clock.
Let me see the noon one first. Yeah, no, let me see the noon one first.
It's not going to make any difference, but I'll show it to you again.
No, that's fine. I just want to see it.
This is the first time you've ever seen it, so might as well take a good look.
Right. I can't. It's about noon. So the Jews, here's your king. Crucify him. Crucify him. All right, now scroll down.
This is just, he's crucified.
Then he handed them over to be crucified.
Yep.
So they took Jesus carrying the cross. Yeah. You're good. You can scroll down to 9.
I don't even know what you're talking about, man. Like, we're very clearly not going to just read the entire chapter here. It says that he got crucified after noon. Is this correct?
To 9 o'clock.
No. Oh, are you saying,
I just
back
wanted to
over
see
in
the
Mark?
9
Is that what you're
o'clock
saying? Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
The inspection charge against him. The encryption charge against him. Crucified. Those who passed. So your point is they got it off by 3 hours.
I'm saying
Or
that this
3
is
or
a
more
contradiction. Do you acknowledge that this is a contradiction?
I acknowledge it could be, or maybe we're missing
Is it
something.
possible to be crucified at 9 a.m. and then in court at noon?
Clearly, it's not.
Okay,
unless
then
it
that
was
would
the
be a
next
contradiction,
day.
correct?
That'd be the only way. That'd be the only way.
Nope, because
Unless
he was
it the next
crucified
day.
on
That'd be
Friday.
the only way.
Do you think that John was saying he was crucified on a different day then? Because that would be an even bigger contradiction.
I did not think John is saying he's crucified on a
Okay,
different day.
so which contradiction would you go with? 3 hours or an entire day? I mean, you can pick which contradiction you
hours.
want. It's okay, but it's still a contradiction, correct?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
That depends.
So I
if
guess
obviously, if
which
all-
one
all
would you
time
like
is
to
the
go
same.
with? Would
That's
you
what
like
we
to
see
say that
today.
John is more correct, or would you like to say that Mark is more correct?
He said if John and Mark is using Jewish reckoning, his third hour is about 9 a.m. because the start is at 6 a.m.
Yep, that's how that works. Anyways, that being said, which would you like to go with? Do you think that Mark was true or that John was true? Or neither? Obviously, he wasn't crucified because he wasn't real, but I mean, which one would you like to go with?
Either or. He says they both start
Pick
at
one.
6 a.m. Okay.
Pick one.
I believe they're both true.
What? No,
I believe they're
you
both
already
true.
said that it's a
I believe
contradiction,
Mark
so it
is-
can't be both true. That's literally what a contradiction means. So you're going to have to pick one. Is it Mark or John?
You could say whoever says he was crucified later.
So John?
John.
Okay, sounds good. So as we can tell here in Mark, it says that he was crucified at 9 a.m., but of course this is wrong. Then it says at the death of Jesus when it was noon, darkness came over the whole land. Of course, John doesn't mention that because he's more correct and Mark is just bullshitting. But interestingly enough, this noon darkness and the 3 hours that it lasts is also echoed in the rest of the Synoptic Gospels, which means Matthew and Luke. So Matthew, Luke, and Mark are all bullshit. Sorry, because they're basing their information off of a incorrect gospel. John, congratulations, you picked the one that might kind of sort of be more correct, because it says that the disciple whom Jesus loved, who they're trying to get this information from, I guess, or they're saying that they're getting their information from, kind of, sort of, they said that he was actually there at the crucifixion. So, all right, sounds good. But we're having a problem here because the Gospel of John says that Jesus descended out of heaven. He doesn't have a birth story. In fact, the birth stories are in Matthew and Luke, so they're gone because they're based off of Mark. But the Gospel of John explicitly, in John 3, Jesus is meeting with Nicodemus, and instead of having a birth story, he just kind of descends out of heaven. It says right here, No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. Which lines up
Right.
with the first gospel, which was Evangelion, which had Jesus descending out of heaven as a fully grown man down into Capernaum doing miracles and then dying on the cross, not for sins, but to purchase humanity's souls from this cruel and unjust God known as Yahweh, who was not his father, according to the initial gospel. That was God the Father, a completely separate God who actually gave a shit. It looks like you are actually more in line with what the first gospel was, which is Evangelion, which very clearly didn't have Jesus as a human being. So it sounds like you're more about it like a spiritual Jesus, which is fine. So Jesus didn't exist, like as a human.
Right. I believe Jesus existed as a human,
All
but
right. Well, I don't know where
to
you're
go to
getting
your
that.
point, okay, so contradiction you found. No. So contradiction you found. Who created Jesus and why? Why is Jesus created and what
The
does his
why
purpose
is
serve? To lead
the
us
intent
away
of someone
or
is
not
very
to lead us
hard to
away?
prove.
Yeah.
Intent is very hard to prove, but when we take a look,
So
we
you
see
really
that the
don't
first gospels
really
come
know?
out from Marcion. Marcion publishes his first New Testament, or the first New Testament canon, along with his gospel and everything like that as part of it, in roughly 144, so the middle of the 2nd century. This would be about 114 years after the supposed death of Jesus. Marcion did not believe that Jesus was a real human being. He thought that he was just a deity. That's how the story was presented. And it seems, and this is where speculation comes in because intent is very hard to prove, it seems more like it was just a mythology that was created for the purpose of giving a backstory or an origin story for this mystery cult known as Christianity, which we do see evidence for going all the way back to 1st century BCE. So it definitely didn't start with Jesus, but the mystery cult does have a mythology later on in the 2nd century, which again just is created by this Marcion guy who comes up with this concept.
So does the Old Testament, is that shit also just cap? Is it just false?
The vast
or is
majority
it a
of the
little
Old
different than
Testament
the
is
New
just
Testament?
stories.
Because you're also just stories.
Yeah, just mythology. A lot of it is based off of Greek mythology, to be honest. There's straight up like the story of King Leonidas going against the Persians and whatnot, like the 300 shit. Like that's in the Bible. I don't know if you know that or not. It's the guy who leads the Jewish army though with 300 people his name's Gideon. The story is actually kind of echoed multiple times.
So with Jesus and Paul never existing, I guess what do you believe we're here doing, bro?
Talking about
You clearly
Jesus and Paul?
have your mind made up of, No. I just mean in general. Like, what do you believe life is about? You don't believe God basically sent someone here to die for our sins. So what do you believe? Essentially,
I believe
if
that
Christianity
Jesus and
is a
Paul
cult,
didn't
what's right? I'm saying like if Christianity is essentially a cult, like what do you believe? Like
that's like
besides
asking,
Jesus and
hey,
Paul,
if
like,
you
what do
don't have a
think?
master, then whose slave are you? That's weird.
I'm not asking
weird
whose
question.
slave are you. I'm more saying,
yes,
what
you
do you
are.
believe?
You're
I'm
saying
not,
you didn't accept
I
this
don't
as
think
your
you need to be a
master, so
slave. I'm
whose
just
slave are
asking,
you?
what do you think
That's
about
what you're
life?
asking.
I don't need you to accept him as your master. I'm more
No,
just
that's
saying,
what
what do you believe
you're
in
saying.
life? Like, what do you think?
Listen, you are saying you don't accept this person as a master, so who is your master is what you're asking. Why does anybody need a master? You were just asking, if there's no master, whose slave will I be? And that's a really weird question.
I'm not asking about a master. I'm asking, what do you think? How do you think humans got here? Why do you think we're here?
That's
do you think we
completely
serve any
irrelevant
purpose,
to
or are we
whether or
just
not
on
Jesus and
planet
Paul
Earth?
existed, and that's the topic of this live.
Oh, okay. I got you. I just wanted to know what you think. If you found much contradiction, what do you think about life? If this is false, what is your truth?
What I try to
essentially?
do is
Not
I
what
try to
master do you
believe things
serve?
that actually have evidence behind them. And if there is evidence against something, I'm going to stop believing it, because I believe that society benefits when we believe as many true things as possible and stop believing as many false things as possible. Likewise, I would encourage you to, whatever you believe in, make sure that you actually have evidence behind it. And if you don't, at least set it to the side until you have evidence either way.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I still believe Jesus is true for sure. God has showed me Jesus in many different ways where he has became true. And if I say he's not, I am a liar.
Okay. Well, it kind of sounds like you just kind of believe in a bunch of magic and hoopla, but whatever. We're going to go ahead and move on to somebody else here. I think we've got, this person was waiting the longest. Oh, Well, I accepted them up, and then they came up and just disappeared. That was weird.
Hey, Jaren, what's going on, man?
Hey, this is Chris here. Chris.
Yeah, so I had a more of a question, not necessarily a debate. What do you think Eusebius interpolated? Like, what are all his documents that he interpolated, in your opinion?
Well, I at least know of the Testimony of Flavianum. My co-author also believes that he may have had a hand within the John the Baptist text there in book, I think 19, I think it is 18 or 19, one of the two. But nevertheless, there's definitely a possibility that he interpolated into some other things, but we at least see the Testimony of Flavianum.
Do you think he interpolated Tacitus as well?
Well, no, because Tacitus is in Latin, and we don't have any evidence that. Eusebius may have written in Latin, maybe. I don't know if I don't think we have any. Let's see. Did write in Latin at all? No, he didn't write it in Latin. Everything that we have is in Koine Greek.
What about Papias?
No, he wasn't. He was in Greek as well. It would have been.
Unlikely.
Yeah, the first Christian that we know of that wrote in Latin was Tertullian. There are Latin writers, but Eusebius writes in Greek.
Okay. What about Papias?
What about him?
Because Eusebius claimed that he found his like lost fragments, and his fragments talked about like I think Mark or Matthew, and another writing. He said that Matthew was written in Hebrew or something.
Okay, so are you asking like what's my take on what Papias said, or are you saying
like do you think
Eusebius
or do you think Eusebius interpolated that one too?
I mean, it's just some claim, I guess. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, Papias saying that doesn't really mean too terribly much. If Papias is writing there in like the middle of the 2nd century, okay, like it doesn't really matter too much. We know that if he's talking about the Gospel of Matthew as we have it today, that doesn't come from Aramaic or Hebrew. It would come from Greek, so he'd just be wrong. But I mean, he doesn't quote from it or anything like that. So just kind of depends. We don't have any gospel that we know of that was written in Aramaic there in the middle of the 2nd.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Jesus Abgar correspondence by Eusebius?
It's a letter to King Abgar. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that one?
It's obviously dog shit. It's something that shows up really late. I mean, there's a lot of that like fake letter writing, which is wild because like it's pretty obvious that the Christians are into this kind of stuff. They write letters. Christian scholars acknowledge that even some of the letters that say that they're from Paul are not from Paul. Hebrews is written as if it's in the style of Paul, which is what Origen says, but it's like maybe just a fan of Paul, which is what Origen says, because it never even claims to be from Paul. But it's still like a fake letter. You also have these other letters like 1st and 2nd Peter. They're not even in the same style, and Christian scholars even they acknowledge that this is not from the same style, and it wouldn't make any sense because Acts said that Peter can't write. So 1st and 2nd Peter, who the fuck writes this? Very clearly, there is an entire genre of fake letter writing, and the Christians are heavily involved in it. We have 1st and 2nd Peter, which don't make any sense. We've got Paul that doesn't have. We've got sections of Paul that aren't from Paul. We have Hebrews, which isn't from anybody, but it's in the style of Paul. We have the letters from Jesus to King Abgar. We have the letters from like Pilate to Caesar. We have the letters of Paul and Seneca. There are tons of fake letters swirling around Christianity, but there's special pleading for like 6 or 7 of them because
who's doing it? The Marcionites?
No, the Marcionites, they are just saying, hey, here's these 9 or 10 books written in the style of letters, and we're attributing to Paul. But then it's later on that it just goes crazy. People start adding to these letters. They start writing names or letters in the names of these people, like the pastorals, like 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus. That's not part of the Marcionite core, but it's still something that says it's from Paul. And even scholars today go, no, it's not from Paul.
Who do you suspect is doing it?
Just proto-Catholics, just the people who take a look at Jesus as more of a historical person, and they want to kind of establish apostolic lineage or apostolic authority by lifting up Peter and these kind of characters. They just love fucking doing that shit. They love that shit. I mean, that's just what they do.
Do we have any names or no?
I mean, not off the top of my head. I couldn't tell you like who wrote some of these. We also have, well, technically we do have, I mean, to some extent, we've got like, but then you also have like the letters of Ignatius and shit like that. You have all these different letters. They loved writing letters. That was just kind of their trope, if you will. You were supposed to read them as a collection. They're not really letters, in many cases, the majority of cases. But like Lucian of Samosata in 166 says that Peregrinus Proteus, that patricidal con man that grifted the Christians in the early to mid 2nd century, he mentions that he writes letters to different cities, and scholars acknowledge that this seems a lot like Ignatius because of some of the writings and some of the things that he's said to have put in the letters, and some of where he's even writing it. It says he wrote them to different cities, like I mentioned. It lines up with Ignatius. So we do have plenty of these like letter writers that they're just coming in and they're going, ooh, this is our thing. This is our genre. We like this genre. And so the Christians just lap it up like crazy. They love these comic book style stories of Jesus where he's more historical. There's a birth story. There's a story about him as a kid. Later on, there's stories about him as a kid blowing up other kids. Like it's a whole bunch of different crazy stuff. They love these comic book style stories of Jesus, and they love letters, like because it seems like this cool correspondence. You feel like a spy, reading about, ooh, this person talked to this person secretly, but we know what.
So just to
said.
clarify, what did the Marcionites, you think, what did they actually write? Just the 10 epistles of Paul and the Gospel of Marcion? Do you think they wrote anything else?
Antitheses, we have that book which goes over like the theology of Jesus, or sorry, the theology of Marcion.
Do you think they could have wrote Paul as well, or no?
I mean, these 10 letters
after Marcion was expelled, do you think they might have wrote
like
Mark?
The pastorals and stuff, like the later stuff, or Mark? You said, or what did you ask? What are you asking?
Okay. Do you think that I guess after Marcion was excommunicated, do you think the Marcionites could have finished Mark?
I don't think that they wrote Mark. I mean, if they did, maybe, but I don't think they really had much to do with Mark per se. I think Mark is just like a play version of a gospel. Like somebody heard that gospel and they're like, okay, let me just kind of present it in a new way or whatever. It's kind of a missing link between your more Catholic style, like Matthew, Luke, and John, that kind of thing, or Matthew and Luke. It's kind of a hybrid between the two. Mark does have some information that's found in Evangeline, but it also has some information that would tie Jesus in a little bit more historically. He doesn't have a birth story, but he's got a family. He's clearly the son of a deity, but like not Yahweh, not necessarily. Or like there's some questions as to whether or not it's Yahweh. Like it's all over the place. Like it's just kind of a hybrid.
Gotcha. Okay, that was my last question. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for coming up. So I brought this person up earlier. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read it out loud and respond to it if you have any questions and don't want to click the link there on TikTok, or to go to TikTok, I guess. But C, how's it going?
What's up, bro?
Not a lot. What you got?
Nah, I don't got much. I just I have a question. So I was listening to what the other guy was saying earlier. He was asking you like what do you believe in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're like, yeah, like I don't like Smiths. Like, hold on,
what?
Give me 2 seconds.
Say I don't like Smiths. I love Smiths. Rick Smiths is awesome. He's the best center that the Pacers ever had. And I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm actually gonna say something that's gonna cross some party lines here. Miles Turner is the second best. Jeff Foster's not even in the top 5. I mean, in here he is, but not in like the actual stats. But have you seen that picture of him trying to dunk? What? See, go ahead. What you got?
Sorry. So you're saying like, and you're like, yo, like I don't submit to any master. Like that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is
like,
weird.
Like I kind of want to know what like you have to say that too, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't saying like what's the master you like submit to, but
no, I said his question was exactly like that. What he's saying is hey,
okay,
you don't believe in this. What do you believe in? Who gives a shit? Yeah, like this is just not true. Why are you sniffing for like other things that
No,
are
like,
irrelevant to the conversation.
yeah, no, fair. Like, I'm kind of like interested in that too, though. Like, I want to like kind of see like what you believe in necessarily. Like, what happens like when we die? Do you think it's just like all black, or you think it's like,
Man, that doesn't have anything to do with this conversation.
well, like I'm curious because this is like,
I mean, then I would recommend talking to maybe Justin Deconstruction Zone. I'd recommend talking to possibly even Bree, who loves going over, after death kind of things. We can talk to Amadeus Almighty, Storm. We can talk to Joel Reads Bible. You can talk to Mezzo. There's a ton of Raul Duke. You can talk to Cash. Like, there's a whole bunch of people.
Completely fair. Yeah, that's completely fair.
Daniel Green.
But
when he goes
I'd
live.
want to say like, but don't you think like it's risky? Like, it's better to believe than not believe. Like, that's a pretty big bet.
The fuck? What are you talking about?
But that's a pretty big bet you're willing to take if you die and it is actually all real and it's not actually all.
Well,
like,
I can tell you right now that the Jesus and Paul aren't real, so I'm not really worried about that shit. Why would I be worried about that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of just like, like there has to be
I
something
know
more.
for a
Like,
fact that the
you don't
Jesus and the
believe-
Paul presented by the New Testament did not exist. So
How
and
though?
if
But
because the
Paul-
Jesus and Paul that are presented in the New Testament don't even line up with each other, let alone with history.
Doesn't it?
So no.
Doesn't it say? I Paul?
Okay, cool. Doesn't it say
that?
I Sirius Black in the Sirius Black letters? Doesn't Anne of Green Gables have some letters from Anne of Green Gables? I don't give two flying fucks.
But why are you discounting that?
Because that's just the thing. We have letters from Hercules' wife when she talks about like forest nymphs and stuff. Why? I don't care. Like, that's just a letter. It's a letter writing genre back then. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's a pretty big like dice. It's a pretty
It
big
is
bet,
not.
though, like,
It is
if
not,
you
because
die
if they
and
didn't
it
exist, then I'm
actually-
not going to
and
believe
it is
anything
all
else that these
real.
these authors are writing about. If the authors of the New Testament couldn't get the shit we could verify, if they didn't get that stuff right, what makes you think that they got the stuff right when it came to stuff we can't verify? That's dumb shit, dude. That's weird.
Yeah, well, like, I know if you read it, like, Paul also says, like, if Christ.
Yeah, Paul
if
didn't
Christ
exist, dude, so I
die-
don't give two flying fucks. Move to your next point.
Okay, well, he says, if Christ didn't die, and if
Okay,
you never.
so if you quote from Paul again, it's not really going to work here because Paul didn't exist. So do you have any evidence for these people, or would you like for me to go ahead and replace which option do you want to go with?
Yeah, you're not that smart. You know that, right? I'm just telling you, it's better to
Cool.
believe than not believe. It's a pretty
No,
big
that's
bet
not even
here.
a thing. Also,
Pretty big
you're not very
bet.
smart if you're just wanting to use Pascal's wager all the time. Also, your
No,
mom thinks I'm smart. That's why she comes over and gives me head.
Your mom
That
thinks
being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to someone else. Sorry for being a little bit more explicit there with that guy than I normally am, but he was just annoying. But we're going to go ahead and move on to somebody else. But I was thinking like brain, and it just ended up. It made sense in my head about the whole idea of brain, head, smart. You know what I mean? It didn't come out right. It came out sexually charged, even more so than usual. So I apologize to anybody who thought that was offensive. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Also, Mirden, did you like your 30-second mute? I'll be dishing those things out. I did indeed. Okay. All right. Emily Leptune says, CBJ, with all his moms you're seeing, the last Lumberjack Fox. Well, oh my God. Okay. I did see this person coming up. Maybe this person is Rabbit Hole Addicts.
So anyone in this channel listening to this zero IQ host that resorts to mom jokes is a fucking brainwashed sheep. Later.
I didn't even hear all he said. He just kind of said some stuff through like his 3 or 4 teeth and just decided to hop down. That was weird. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to somebody else. All right, Ignite We Bright?
Yes.
Okay.
How are you?
Doing good. What you got?
So I have a line of questions that just like clarifying questions.
A line of questions? Well, form an orderly queue and call me Sally. What you got?
um, I first off, after we get through this line of questions, can I ask you a final question about your personal beliefs, or is that not on the table?
I mean, it's going to be irrelevant, but I mean, we can keep going.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be the last one, and that's just if you're
okay
with it.
Maybe you'll
give
wow
me
me
one
with some
second.
of your evidence, then we can talk about it. But keep going.
All right, give me 1 second. My baby's crying. If
Not
you
a
want
problem.
to pull somebody else up,
No,
if you wanna
no,
pull
take
somebody
care,
else
take
up,
care of your
that's-
baby. You can mute for a second. Go take care of your kid. I put mute on. Alrighty. Okay, so my son is into like capybaras because I mean I guess that's just all the rage right now. They're just fat rodents. Anyways, you know what? I'm not gonna fat shame even if it's a rat. You know what? I'm not gonna rat shame either. No fat shame, no rat shame. All right, a little bit of fat and rat shame. Anyways. The point is, he's into capybaras and whatnot. Which is, you know, where that phrase, the "oh cappy my bara" came from. Yes, yeah, there it is. "Oh cappy my bara." There it is. Okay, and Michaela says her son too. Okay, cool. You have a son? Anyways, so the point is, he wanted something that he could do like quietly, like right before bed or something like that, you know, before the lights go out and stuff like that, you know, and we're like, hey, you got to be in bed or whatever. And we're like, no screens or anything like that, so you can't do that. So he took up like crocheting. All right, and he likes to crochet, and he's actually got pretty good at it. I'm pretty proud of him. I am a proud dad for this crocheting kid. So the point is, I got him a little thing. It just came in the mail, and I got him this little capybara thing on like Amazon, I think it is, or eBay or something. I can't remember where I got it, but it just came in the mail. It's a little capybara with a little top hat. It's like a little top hat or whatever. So I'm hoping he finishes it and stuff like that. It comes with the fluff and all kinds of shit, and I'll show it off if he lets me. If he lets me show it off, and he finishes it and everything, I'll show you what this thing looks like. It looks pretty dope, or at least it's supposed to. I don't know. He may make it flat or something. I don't know. No. I'm not gonna fat shame. Not gonna rat shame. Not gonna flat shame. And don't hat shame. But no. I'll show it off. It'll be awesome. Okay.
right.
Let's see. Ignite We Bright. What you got?
Okay, so can you state your full position that you hold?
That even the natural Jesus and Paul, as presented by the New Testament, did not exist.
Okay. And a follow-up question: do you believe that anyone around Jesus or associated with him existed?
In the stories?
Yes, like the disciples.
Yeah, like Pilate.
Or...
Yeah.
What about the disciples?
No.
Okay, so so it would probably be more advantageous to ask you who existed rather than who didn't exist, right?
Okay. Some of the leaders and whatnot, like just about all the leaders that I remember, like a lot of the Roman leaders, maybe some of the Jewish leaders as well. That's about it.
Okay. Let's see. Why would somebody go from running and hiding in sorrow to defending a belief openly?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Who did?
So my personal belief, I believe that the disciples were actual people
obviously,
who existed.
you know that
so
I'm going to
that
ask for
would
evidence of that. So, I mean, it sounds like what happened was you were going to maybe ask me if I believe the disciples existed, and I would have said yes, and then you would have been able to use that logic, maybe, sort of, kind of. I don't think they existed. We don't have any evidence for them. So that line of logic isn't going to work with me. I mean, if you provide evidence that the disciples existed, then I might be willing to entertain that concept. But none of the 13 disciples that are mentioned in the New Testament, as well as Paul, none of them are mentioned outside of Christianity once.
Well, at this current point in time, I do not have any evidence to back up, like besides biblical. But I know that you don't.
Well, I mean, okay. Name me a Christian who says they personally knew one of the disciples.
Let's see. Like I'm being honest. I want to be. I want to
like
be
I
humble.
think
I
a
have
lot
no
of atheist
idea, for real.
a lot of atheist lives and stuff like that may mention like moralistic things about the Bible or something like that, or maybe some Muslim lives or something like that talk against the Bible. They'll all acknowledge the disciples, but like there's no evidence for them. So again, this argument would work on somebody who says that they think the disciples may have existed, but I'm not just going to grant them if we don't have any evidence.
Yeah, no, I respect that, and I will do more research on that line of questioning. But I do have more questions that don't pertain to that.
You do have some others. Okay, what were the others?
Okay, how do you refute the fact that a majority of modern day skeptics agree that Jesus Christ existed in ancient Galilee?
How do I respond to that?
Yes.
Welcome to the future of technology and data science.
So, can you kind of like clarify that? I'm new to this.
So using modern tools to analyze text, like people like Josephus or Tacitus, Suetonius, all these different things that people have thought for a long time meant that it was talked about Jesus and were authentic to these people in these times. We can actually tell that they are not authentic and can't be used as arguments for Jesus.
And in some of your previous lives, I've heard that is one of the like pieces of your book, or maybe even like the main one. I haven't.
Well, and it's like kind of. I mean, obviously, we go over the New Testament, we go over the historians, we go over church fathers, but then we also provide a backbone within data science that shows that these texts are actually going to be affiliated with second century authorship and whatnot. So we do have a backbone that goes over this theory that's created with data science.
So why do you think that even like modern day skeptics just like agree without
because they want to talk about other things. Like I said,
so
it's kind of like
they just grant it.
Yes, it's kind of like if you went to like an atheist live, like let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an atheist live real quick. If you went to, we'll go with Daniel Green. If you went to Daniel Green's live and you said, "Hey, do you think that the disciples existed?" He would probably say, "Yeah, they may have existed," or "I don't have a problem with it." He probably would grant you that, and then you could talk about the disciples and what they had to go through and stuff like that. Very similar to what we talked about just earlier, your last point. But in a similar vein, the reason that they might grant, or other people might grant, the Jesus existence is so that they can talk about other things. They can go on to talk about the moralistic implications of Christianity or religions today. They can talk about the morality of the Bible or the Quran or whatever they want to do. But they will grant this thing that isn't really, it's not really that important to them. But
it's kind of like
I'm not
fodder.
going to grant anything. Yeah, it's kind of like fodder. But I'm not going to grant anything that just doesn't have any evidence.
And I respect that too. You've really and I'm quoting the Bible here, but it says iron sharpens iron, just as one man sharpens another, and you are sharper than me, sir. I really I yearn to be able to pause or whatever. I think Blue did it in calf.
Oh, shit.
Anyways.
Okay, so how would everyone who lived around the birth point of Christianity be convinced that Jesus existed and was crucified if none of them ever saw it happen?
How could anybody who was born?
I can read it again.
Yeah, what was that?
Okay,
Read it again. Did you write this down?
Yeah, I have a Google Docs.
Okay.
Like,
What was the question?
how would everyone who lived around the birth point of Christianity be convinced that Jesus existed and was crucified if none of them ever saw it happen? I know not everybody.
We don't
did,
have
but
any
I'm
evidence
talking
of
about, like,
anybody who was alive at the time of like Jesus' supposed birth or supposed death that believed in Jesus. We don't have any evidence. The first person that we have any evidence from that mentions Jesus would have been Marcion, and he was born much later. We don't have any evidence that
And-
anybody prior to that believed in a Jesus.
And I'm gonna have to look into Marcion. I heard you say that this stream. To be honest with you, I've never heard of Marcion. You said he was like the first person to write
Now that
the
question,
New Testament.
that question is
the Gospels.
Yeah, he's the first person to come out with a New Testament canon, the first person to come out with a gospel and the epistles there of Paul, in roughly 144, so the middle of the 2nd century. But that question was very, very similar to your first question because again, you're assuming that there are people in the 1st century who believe in a Jesus. I get why you're saying that. That's because, a lot of people will grant, even atheists will grant the idea of like, oh, hey, Jesus existed and the disciples existed, blah, 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 blah. They grant the idea that people believed in a Jesus in the middle of the 1st century. I don't see any evidence of that, so I'm not going to grant it. But a lot of your questions are based upon that. And this is primarily why I do that. Not just because of the fact that we don't have any evidence, and I've got evidence to the contrary anyways, but on top of that, when you grant people like these religions, and to anybody who's watching this, no offense, man, but we're going to use you as an example here. To anybody who's watching, this is an important reason why if you are an atheist streamer or whatever you are, do not grant this kind of concept because they are just going to take the concept of, oh, he existed, or oh, hey, the disciples thought this, or the Christians believed in Jesus in the middle of the middle of the 1st century. They're going to take that and run with it. Because the idea that there are people in the 1st century that believed in a Jesus who had been crucified and resurrected and stuff like that and interacted with them and all that kind of stuff, and they believed that he was God, and they went to their deaths and were martyred and stuff like that for this belief, that means something to people. Like, that can resonate with people, that concept. But that concept isn't true. It's not based on any evidence that they even did this, that this belief was even a thing. But I can see why someone would get caught up in that. If you were told there were, at the very least, people running around the middle of the 1st century saying, Jesus was here, he was crucified and resurrected, and he did miracles, and they said that to their death. If you were told that, that sounds pretty fucking convincing. But we don't have any evidence of that happening. So we don't even have evidence of these people existing to be able to say those things. So it's just, it's one of these, I don't give an inch for different reasons, but if I did give an inch, people would take a mile. Yeah.
So that fact that you just said, that like a lot of atheist streamers and scholars just grant that, has made it solidified in my mind without even doing proper research myself.
And thank you for being honest. Yeah, it because that narrative makes some sense. You know what I mean? Like, why would you be willing to die for something that all these different people were willing to die for? That, like, why? Like it makes some sense. It doesn't require that it's true, but it sounds convincing.
Yeah, it leaves something up to interpretation.
Yeah.
And
but again, I don't grant it because there's no evidence.
You don't grant
it.
Yeah. Let's see. I have another question. It was a follow-up question to what was said previously in the stream. You said something about like faith being dangerous because if you take faith as a whole, like of all the humans in the world that
you were here early.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I be watching like while I'm cleaning the house for
nice.
So I've washed a lot of dishes listening to your voice.
Scrub, scrub,
Uh,
scrub. Yeah.
so how do you personally define faith?
Faith is the excuse that people give when they don't have a good reason to believe something. Otherwise, it'd be called
So
trust. Because trust is based off of evidence and supporting materials, experience, or the belief that someone who is telling you something has been, correct before, so we can trust them. But again, that's based off of evidence. Faith is literally the lack of evidence, but the belief nevertheless.
yeah, so like, and that kind of goes into what Hebrews 11:1 says. Are you familiar with that verse?
Yeah, it's going to tell you like faith is evidence of things unseen.
Like
Yeah.
It's certainty
but
of
I mean
things
that's
hoped for,
how
proof
they.
of things not seen.
Yeah, I mean that's how they kind of define it. But again, it's still just it's literally the absence of evidence, but a belief nevertheless.
Yes, and I mean that's how I interpret what that says right there. With you
Yeah.
there's a certain level of like you have to believe.
Yeah, but
rather
that's
than,
obviously dangerous because I mean,
of course,
we should
When
not
you-
go
when you take
around
it into
believing
certain-
things without any evidence. Like that's not
Yeah.
that's not good. Yeah. In fact,
And
believing
when you-
things
when
without
you take
evidence is how we ended up with Mango Mussolini in charge.
And who is that? I'm not
Mango Mussolini, the orange
I
dictator.
don't know. Oh, okay. I'm catching your drift now.
Yeah.
So, okay. So on back to the faith thing. So which that was kind of too because
Okay.
people had faith in him. I see what you're saying, and it can be dangerous. I'm granting you like if you have faith in something that is going to lead to something dangerous, like say. Muslims believe if you are an apostate, like they have the right to kill you in certain societies, like under Sharia law. So that would be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially if what they believe isn't true.
Yep. So they should stop believing that.
So what about faith in things that are like okay, so faith in just not giving up. What do you think about that? Like, because there's more than
you mean
just
like
faith
hope
in,
or
in
something like that.
dangerous.
Like I want
So
to think
I
of
can give
something?
an example. I can give an example if you want to.
I mean, it doesn't
Like, to
sound like we're going to
clarify.
get any closer to Jesus or Paul conversation, but I mean, this is
Yeah,
just a
and-
conversation on the concept of faith. But I mean, if you can make it snappy, what you got?
Okay, I will make it snappy. Okay, so how do you explain the fact that people who have faith that they will live through intense physical trauma tend to survive, and others that have non-vital injuries tend to die if they give up hope? It's a widely
like,
recognized.
Oh yeah, but that's just like your will to carry
Will to
on.
live.
Yeah, your will to live.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, that doesn't.
But that
doesn't really mean anything.
I mean,
because likewise, you have people have faith that the prayers are going to heal them and stuff like that because of faith. And people that actually tested this with double blinds and everything. In a double blind study, it showed that people who know that they are being prayed for fare worse in medical conditions with their medical conditions because they
Really?
Yes, because they will stop having that like drive to get better because they need to and just assume that some divine presence is actually going to help them out and take them. They may even stop taking medication or something like that because they've got faith that everything's good to go. So yeah.
Do you know the name of that study or paper?
That study there, let's see here. Let's see here. So intercessory prayer. That study is 2009. Okay, so it's prayer and healing, a medical and scientific perspective on randomized controlled trials. This was from October to December of 2009. Yeah, I mean, there's the actual people who did, like, I can't pronounce the name of the author there, but I can show you. You can take a screenshot of this if you want. Here, let me.
I would love that. I was about to ask.
Here, you can just take a screenshot of that if you can. That's maybe here. Maybe let me see if I can zoom in even more. Here, there we go.
Thank you. I'm genuinely interested in research, and like that previous guy. I think your stream went down like when you were talking to him.
Internet went out. Yeah.
He said that he was wanting to be an apologist, and I'm interested in that as well. So I'm trying to have an actual backing behind what I believe rather than just believing it because my grandma raised me and she was a Baptist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of people who join seminary, and it's the people who actually like take a moment and go, wait a minute, do I care about whether this is right or wrong? Or do I just want to believe it because of a feeling that I get whenever I think about it, that kind of thing. It's those people, the people who care about it and care about whether or not it's true. It's those people who usually, they may finish seminary, but it's usually those people who will leave the faith.
And we shall see where my future leads. As far as right now, I'm gonna say that I don't have 100% evidence, but I do have faith that I will find evidence. So I'm gonna keep searching.
Yeah, that's literally the first step that everybody takes on their path to deconstruction. I'm not telling you that it's a 100% guarantee that you're going to end up there, but I'm letting you know that that is very, very common with people who have deconstructed from the faith. And I'm also going to let you know that you are not alone, not anywhere close to it. There's 266 people here on TikTok and 220 people watching on YouTube. And I would say the majority of those people have started their deconstruction, and they are some place during their journey in deconstruction. Some of them have already completely deconstructed, that kind of thing, a good portion of them. So you are actually in good hands if you are deconstructing and you're familiar with this group, and even our Discord. We've got a Discord, is Deconstructing Chaos, where there's a whole bunch of people who are in different parts of deconstruction.
What that means.
Yeah.
I've heard you mention that. I didn't know that was like deconstruction of like the faith. I had no idea.
Yeah, or a deconstruction of something that was built up inside you from years of people telling
childhood.
of just like just people who are building this story up inside your head, and you're trying to piece it together. And then later on, you start actually like dismantling it because you start realizing that this isn't something that's built on any kind of solid foundation.
Yeah, I have so a little bit about like why I believe my grandma.
Let me get to this. Go ahead.
Yes, of course.
Make this last point, and then I do want to get to some other guests here.
Of course. But my grandma raised me. My mom and dad weren't in the place to raise me, so we was in church all the time, and I learned from her that I believed because she believed, and then I went to college and took a philosophy class, and it was groundbreaking. I was like, I have no. And a little bit before that, I suffered, and I still suffer with substance abuse disorder, but I kind of fell away, and drugs became my god. And then I came back because there was just coincidences that lined up that didn't make sense to me. I thought I was going crazy at one point.
Right.
But
what I would recommend is continuing to dig into those just to make sure that this is actually something that has merit behind it. So if you have these coincidences and you're chalking it up to being the Christian God or Christian Jesus or whatever, check to see if there's any way that you can verify that that's actually the case, and you can confirm that it's that and not anything else. But the main point here, though, is that even if you find out that none of this is true, that Jesus didn't exist, even if you find out God didn't exist, even if you become an atheist, all I'm saying is that if that's the case, you can rest assured that you will be okay because you got yourself out of these issues. You are the one who's walking out of it. If Jesus isn't real, Jesus didn't help you. That was you the whole time. If God isn't real, then God didn't help you. That was you the whole time. You have it within you. It's been proven that you have it within you to walk away from this. You have it within you to actually get to a better place. And you've done it before, so you can do it again. There's no requirement that a God or a Jesus be real if you find out that they're not real and you made it out. So you're good to go. So definitely don't let that story be the thing that pulls you back into believing something without evidence. Because in reality, the evidence shows that even though Jesus didn't exist, the evidence does show that you made it through. Like, you did it. You have evidence that you did. So you're good. Just keep going. And that would be my advice to you, is keep going.
Well,
keep going for you, keep going for everybody in here, and keep going for that little kid that that we heard in the background. And because there are people who depend on you and people who care about you.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to see the capybara with the top hat.
Yeah. It should be done here, I'd say, in a couple of weeks or something like that. A couple of weeks. But
all right.
Anyways, thank you very much for coming on, man.
Thank you for being respectful. I really appreciate it, because I'm just genuinely
I can tell,
trying to ask clarifying questions.
Yeah, I can tell. Well, thank you very much. That was Ignite We Bright, everybody. W's in the chat there for Ignite. W Ignite. All right. So we do have some people who have sent some super chats. Thank you very much on YouTube. If you send some super chats, I promise I'll read them out loud and I will respond. We got $1.99 from The Prototype. It said, just went to a capybara birthday. Oh, nice. Happy birthday, by the way. Fuck you. It's not my birthday. Hasn't been my birthday for months, and it's not going to be my birthday for even more months. So, no. Anyways, $2 Canadian from Danny's comment says, why is Christ acknowledged in all religious text? So not even remotely close. Literally the only text, literally the only text or the only people who talk about Jesus are the people who have come in contact with Christians at some point. It would be really weird if, like, the original Buddhist or Hindu text talked about Jesus, because Buddhism and Hinduism were around for hundreds of years prior to Christianity, so that'd be really strange. Jesus is also not talked about in, like, the Torah or anything like that. Just because a later group of people decide to just go ahead and culturally appropriate Jewish beliefs and their text and whatnot and say, oh, we know how to decipher their text even better than them, and then retroactively just shove Jesus into certain concepts that are read about in the Torah, doesn't mean that Jesus was actually talked about back then. It's pretty obvious that he wasn't. The point is, no one in any religion talks about Jesus unless they've come in contact with Christians or people who are at least familiar with the Christians, and so they're sharing this information with them. If people over in a remote village in China knew about Jesus and had never had any access whatsoever to Jesus or anything about him, that would be really impressive, but that doesn't happen literally ever. So yeah, it doesn't really make any difference. And if you're pointing to, like, say maybe the Quran, cool, that's just an offshoot of Christianity. The Quran doesn't show up for about 300 years after Christianity became the official religion of the entire Roman Empire. If you're talking about the Talmud, as a quick aside, really quick at the end here, if you're talking about the Talmud, well, the Babylonian Talmud, not the Jewish Talmud, the Jerusalem Talmud, by the way, but the Babylonian Talmud, which was written between the 3rd and 6th centuries, so potentially after Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire, it talks about Christianity in a way that attacks it, as opposed to actually saying that Jesus is a real person. I mean, obviously they're saying he's a real person, but they're attacking him. They say that he's boiling in liquid shit forever, and they call him a term that's only found within the Gospels. They call him a Nazarene when they don't mention Nazareth at all in literally any of the Talmuds at all. So it's very, very clear that they're not talking about someone from Nazareth. They're just using a term that he is called within Christianity. So no, it's just an attack later on. But again, if you do want to send a super chat there on YouTube, I will read it just like that and I will respond. It might take me a second, but I promise I will get to it if you don't have a TikTok and can't come up. Rave Steve,
yes.
All right. What you got?
All the way from the Netherlands. So first of all, compliments about the discussion with Ignite. It was very respectful and I really enjoyed it. Listen, I watch your shows now and then. I just want to scientifically prove that your claim is false.
Oh, scientifically?
Yes,
Lay
but
it on
in a
me.
way, not in a way that you think it will be.
Oh,
Because
well,
actually,
I'd like
I'm
science.
okay, but I will. Then you will follow me. I'm completely agree with you, and well, I'm from the Netherlands. We have a very strange view
Wait,
on
you agree with
religions.
me, or you say that I'm wrong?
Here it comes. Your claim is false in that way that scientifically, if you want to make a claim, you are the one that has to prove it.
Okay.
Now you ask them to prove you are wrong, which is scientifically exactly the same as
Oh.
somebody who's religious and says God exists,
Oh.
and you have to prove that he does not exist. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So in that way, your claim is false. No, they.
Well,
I'm an
it's
historian.
not that the claim is false, is that the way I go about it, I guess you could say. But the only reason I say that is because prove us wrong is just a common phrase or whatever.
I totally agree.
But I will say that I do every once in a while, like when people come up, lots of times they want to share about their stuff. Christians love talking about themselves. But whenever it comes to my claim, obviously it is a positive claim. I do need to back it up. And so every once in a while people will come up and say, how did you get to this? And I will actually address that. I'll address that that point.
I understand,
I get it.
and I can agree because I'm an historian even, and your facts are true. If there was a Joseph and a Mary who went to, excuse the words, but counting the population on the Herodes
census, yeah,
that was already done in the reign of Herodes. That is already 4 years before Christ was born. Well, it just doesn't make sense that they both were at the same site.
Right.
Yeah. I really find it interesting in your TikToks here that the American view on how religion is being perceived and how people make that a complete part of their identity. That's something we hardly recognize anymore in Europe. So I find it really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of what my co-author and I, a lot of the like material that like kind of lines up with what we are saying, and we were actually really relieved to find that other people have been talking about this, comes from a school that is known collectively as the Dutch Radicals. So big fan of them.
Yes, I can imagine. We're a very small country. We have so many different religions here, but we also have a past, and that's maybe a difference for America, but we have a past before Christianity. We all remember our German gods or the Baltic gods, or there have been so many claims of gods that I think our view on religion is much different.
Yeah. If anybody's actually curious what that was, the Dutch Radicals, by the way, the Dutch Radicals were a group of late 19th century biblical scholars in the Netherlands who shocked the academic world by claiming that no letters of the Apostle Paul were genuine. Yeah. So you got to hand it to the Dutch. Every once in a while, they got some pretty cool stuff. Let's see. The Dutch Radical School, fucking windmills, I guess. Clogs, and... what is it? The Dutch got?
Marijuana, of course.
Oh yes, yeah. All that stuff that they got over there, yeah. All the grass they got.
Yeah, but just to give you an example,
Stroopwafels from the Netherlands.
Just to give you an example, if our president would say, "God bless the Netherlands," that would be the end of his reign. The day after, he would be fired.
All right.
The people would be here like, what the hell? Why do we bring religion or anything in politics? This doesn't make any sense,
Not bad. Mortal Coil on TikTok says, "If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much." Okay, well there we go.
Well, I'm not that sure. But the double Dutch, that's more like it.
Anyways, but thank you very much, Rave, for kind of coming up and kind of shedding a little light on how the take here. It is a positive claim. It is a positive claim, and I don't mind it if people come up and just ask for my evidence. That's perfectly fine. But lots of times people will come up and want to talk about their own evidence. And it's just a little more fun to hear what they've got to say.
It is. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That was Rave Steve, everybody. Rave Steve stuff. Rave stuff. I think his name is. And now I feel bad for quoting Austin Powers that one time, because what does Austin Powers' dad say on He says, "There's two things in this world that I can't stand: those that are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. Anyways. So yeah, there are two things that anyways, Yensis or Plumbus? No idea
Yeah,
what
that's
your
me.
name's. Plumbus.
Yeah.
What you got?
I'm gonna say I'm not Christian, and like I live in Germany, but I want to say ich liebe deinen Hut, ich komme gleich in dein Gesicht, du bist so geil, ne? So that means that I love your head, and I want to say like, when's the last time
Hey
you
pal,
you genuinely took a shit?
Plan bai'r pwrs gwing, go get a quinn drobble, llawn to silio go.
That's the closest thing I've got. Anyways, so what you got for the topic?
Genuinely, when's like the last time you took a shit?
It was on your mom's chest last night.
No.
All right. Shameless people.
Hello. Yes. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
All good. All good. I'm a scientist and historical
nice.
lover like you. But I do need to study a lot. But I just have a few points that I wanted to mention, and I'll be very quick because I only have 10 minutes until I have to do something. So I will give one of the very interesting points that I've heard from you, which you were saying that were detriment to, people who believed that if they were being prayed over, that they what is it called? They ended up like getting worse because they were not taking medication.
Yeah, they fared a little worse because they knew about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will give you my position up front just so you understand where I'm coming from. I am a Christian. However, I do realize that between the religious people, there is some sort of what is the word?
Indoctrination? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And a lot of things also can be based on faith, purely on faith, because obviously we are talking about something that people in this day and age have not seen in person. We have not seen miracles. We have not seen any of these things. But using some historical sources and scientific sources, and things like this, we can at least narrow down to what's true and what not true. So one of the things I wanted to touch on was this, because there is a study that has been done previously in parts of Japan, Italy, and I don't remember what the other country was, that they had some of the oldest people living around the world, and from those countries as well. They go about their diets, what they do on the daily basis, and also what's the common denominator between all of those people. And what they did find through scientific studies and general studies was that multiple of them said that people who normally had faith in something, they lived longer. I'm not taking away from what you said from your from your studies, but I'm just...
The study that I was talking about wasn't over faith per se. I mean, it involved faith to some degree, but it was over prayer and the effects of prayer. Faith would just mean that maybe they were more, I guess, peaceful, if you will. Like, they were just like, oh, hey, like, I'm not as stressed out about something, maybe. But, okay, that doesn't really have much to do with anything. I mean, if we were to remove faiths from America due to not just like a law but simply just education, lots of times the models that people come up with here for what would happen if we did that is that we would probably become a more socialist society, which would mean that people are more well taken care of and there's more of a safety net financially for a lot of people, which would mean that they are more peaceful. So we would actually be able to replace the peace that comes potentially comes from faith with just actual peace that you can actually get and attain because you are actually like taken care of, like you are okay. You don't have to worry about certain things. One of the top worries, especially right now within America, is finances. So if you were to remove that from your day-to-day worries, you'd probably be in a much better place. And we can't really achieve the paradise that we'd like for America to be if there is major religions and conservatism that's brought from these religions in our way.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I get it. I'm with you so far. And just to cite one of the studies, it comes from the National Library of Medicine and Biotech Information. So the one of the studies comes from there, dated 2020, February of 2020.
But what does this have to do with
which-
Jesus and Paul existing?
So
Just
I'm
to
gonna
kind of
get there. So this is just like a general thing. Just because I didn't understand your point, now I understand. We can move on from that
Gotcha.
research. The other thing that I was going to go about is obviously during that time there were a lot of historians who were philosophers, as you are aware, because you're a very intelligent guy, and etc. etc. So just to go over very quickly of, some of them can be debatable. Some of them, a lot of people do agree with it, which is, Tacitus. I don't know how to pronounce most of the names, just Josephus, Lucian of some. I don't know how to pronounce the names. I'm so sorry. And Maraba Saparion. And there were quite a lot of them. And also one of them that I don't see many Christians mentioning a lot is Celsius. I don't know if you've heard about him before.
That's
Yes.
the little brother to Fahrenheitius. Yeah.
No. There is an actual guy called Celsus.
Celsus, yeah.
Celsus, yeah, sorry. Celsus. And what he was saying is that he says that he accuses Jesus, apart from the previous historians I've mentioned about having, said that Jesus existed, and some of them speaking about, the crucifixion, which I will get into it. I'll try and be as quick as I can. But he says that Jesus invented his birth from a virgin. Okay, so this guy has no reason to, he was very critical of Christianity and Jesus in general, generally in terms.
Celsus was writing in 170. There's no possible way that he had any kind of conversations with any kind of eyewitnesses of Jesus. So, very clearly, it's just and not to mention we don't have anything directly from Celsus. The only thing we have about Celsus comes from a quotation of a supposed quotation of him from Origen, his book Contra Celsum. There in the mid 3rd century was the first time that we have anything from Celsus about Christianity.
Okay.
So, it's already kind of questionable, but nevertheless, Celsus couldn't have talked to any kind of eyewitness. So when he talks about Jesus, he's talking about Jesus as understood by the Christians, like his attack on the Christians, but he has no possible way of determining if Jesus actually lived and died in 30. That's absurd. He's writing 140 years later.
Yeah, which is understandable from the thing. It's just that the things that he mentions, they kind of do align a lot to what the other people said, but we will move on from that. The other thing that I wanted to go
Who
on
else
about,
said that he had invented his virgin birth? Literally no one that you mentioned ever said that he was born of a virgin.
obviously the historians, they don't go into the what is it called, the virgin birth, but they do go into
So how does he say anything that's remotely
miracle.
close to other writers?
Because they mention about the common denominators were the fact that quite a few of them, they either accuse him of basically using black magic or doing miracles or doing some sort of sort of thing, witchcraft, whatever it is. They all use different words to.
None of the people you mentioned said that he did any kind of black magic or anything.
In a illusion or whatever you want to call it, because but the main
there's
point was,
literally no one who you mentioned who said that Jesus did illusions.
the guy that I mentioned just previously, he does mention that he said that Jesus did do miracles, but that he claimed to be God.
You mean
So
Celsus?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
I can give you
we're
the-
trying to compare Celsus to anybody else. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Celsus
One of
said
the-
some things that don't line up with other people.
Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, Celsus even said that the Christians had a gospel, and then when other people started poking holes in it, they just decided to pivot and write a whole bunch of others.
Okay.
So he was
okay.
probably referring to Evangelion, which was published in 144 and was the first gospel. And when people pointed out problems with it, they decided to write other gospels.
Okay, okay. No, I understand. So, what about the Roman historians? Do you agree with any of them?
On what?
Suetonius, about
Suetonius
the
doesn't say Jesus or Christ.
no, but they were speaking about Jews being expelled from Rome because there was disturbance. Also the letter from Pontius Pilate to because some people do debate about
From what?
this.
We don't
his
have a
name is-
letter from Pontius Pilate.
hold on. Pontius Pilate, a letter about Jesus.
We don't have a letter from Pontius Pilate. That's a fake letter that shows up in like maybe the 4th or 5th century. Pilate doesn't even live to the middle of the 1st.
Yes, some people do debate about that, but
It's not a real letter. The first
but
time that
what
we
if-
even get it mentioned is in the 5th century. What do you think that people had a letter from Pontius Pilate to Caesar? How did they end up with it? That doesn't even make any sense. Somehow they end up with a letter that was meant for Caesar and they have it 400 years later. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah, but then we are discrediting all these historians, all these people.
No,
But what
not
if-
really.
what if
We're
these
just
people
discrediting the things that are added in. Tacitus and Josephus are interpolated into by later Christians. The letter is a fake letter. That's just from a Christian. That's not from a historian. Celsus is just talking about what Christians believe. I'm not really discrediting him. I'm just saying that he's talking about what Christians believe. Lucian of Samosata is also writing about 22 years minimum after the first gospel. He's just, again, talking about what Christians believe. He says the Christians, as you know, worship a crucified sage. He also says that a patricidal con man in the beginning to mid 2nd century grifted the Christians and wrote their books for them and edited others. So, yeah, it's pretty damning. Suetonius doesn't say shit about Christian. No, he does say something about Christians, but he doesn't say anything about Jesus or Christ. And apparently he does know what a Christ is because he says the word Christians, as far as we can tell, with an I, so he knows what a Christ is. But whenever he talks about the Jews being expelled because of their problems over there, he says because of one Christus, which is odd. That's not the word Christ, and that's definitely not the word Jesus. So it doesn't really mean anything anyways. Let's see. What else we got? Mara Bar Serapion doesn't say Christians, Jesus, or Christ, and says Jews executed their wise king, and it talks as if this king is still dead. No one who is familiar with the story of Jesus would say that he is still dead, because even after he dies, the next paragraph he comes back to life. It also says in this Mara Bar Serapion letter that the Jews live in complete dispersion immediately because their kingdom was destroyed or demolished after the death of this king. That wouldn't make any sense because if Jesus died in 30, we don't get the actual destruction or abolishment of their kingdom of Judea until the 130s. So this is probably Shimon Bar Kokhba who it's talking about. There is at least one story where the Jews, not the Jews, but like some Jewish people actually let some of the Romans in to to Jerusalem through the walls or whatever to execute Mara Bar Serapion. They more or less betrayed him. So there's that. Let's see. I don't know if anything else that you had mentioned in there, but yeah, no. Basically, everything that talks about Jesus is after 144, which is when Marcion, a Christian theologian, actually comes up with this story and presents it. Prior to that, we don't have anything on this Jesus character.
And even though we also have what is it called? Some of the Jewish rabbis from that time, during that time they existed. You guys mentioned one of the names that I recognized earlier, which was a very famous guy, but I forgot his name now. But you guys just mentioned it in 2 conversations ago. And he does confirm that he did meet a person called Jesus at that date and time.
There is not a single rabbi who confirms that they saw Jesus. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
There is, you guys literally mentioned his name, and he is very well known from that era. I just forgot his name now. The problem is I don't know how to spell his name at the moment.
There's not a
But
single rabbi who says they met Jesus. That's not a thing. I don't know who you're talking about, but that's not a thing.
I will try and get his name. And then the last thing is that about the eclipse and
Okay. We know when the
earthquake that-
eclipse actually was. This is actually one of my favorite things to talk about because if you see over here, the closest eclipse to this time period was in the year 29 in November 24th. Wrong month, wrong day of the week, and also wrong year. Here's the actual image here of where the
Yeah, I've
eclipse
seen
goes
this
over.
one before. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
this before.
and the actual like darkness specifically goes right above where Jerusalem is, and the longest that this darkness actually lasted, let's see, the greatest duration is 1 minute and 59.22 seconds. So no, it is not 3 hours of darkness in the middle of the day.
No, nobody's. They might have written it as 3 hours of darkness, whatever. I wasn't that present. None of us were, but we can only narrow it down to see if something like this happened at that date
And
and
it
time.
didn't, because the solar eclipse happened in the wrong time of the year, the wrong day of the week, and the wrong year. So that
Yeah.
wouldn't make a lot of sense. It also happened in the wrong location.
Yeah,
So,
but I
no,
wasn't
there
just
wasn't
talking
any
about
darkness.
the eclipse, because it wasn't just an eclipse, because they said both an eclipse and also an earthquake happened, and the earthquake is a little bit more difficult.
No, what you're talking about is Julius Africanus, who is not quoting from Thales and Phlegon, but saying that Thales and Phlegon mentioned earthquakes and a solar eclipse, and he says that they're talking about something that happened at the time of Jesus' death. But no, there's no evidence of this because we don't have any writings from Thales and Phlegon. It's just a later Christian trying to take something where somebody talked about an earthquake and somebody talked about solar eclipse and just kind of combining them. But again, even if he says that the earthquake and the solar eclipse happened at the same time, okay, so I guess they happened in 29 in November. So that wouldn't be the right time and year.
The issue that I have is I'm not gonna be able to cite the study because I don't know what before when I joined our live and I tried to find on my bookmark, but there was a source that I managed to narrow it down, which is an actual like scientifical geological kind of source that confirms that an earthquake during that time did happen.
There's
They
no way
narrowed
to
it down
pinpoint an earthquake to a certain day of time.
No,
That's
I
not
know they're
possible.
not, but that's what you didn't let me finish.
No, I've heard
they
the
narrowed it
argument
down to
before. People
29,
try to say that there was an earthquake during that time period. That is impossible to track. Unless you actually have somebody saying that they had it and it happened on this day, it is impossible to actually say that it's from that month and that time and that day.
Yeah,
That's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
But it narrows down to within the that year or so.
Okay.
So they
Yeah,
took
earthquakes happen. It's not really that big of a
yeah,
deal.
they do happen, but it just seems to be so many different it's like so many different sources speaking about so many, this man existing, like an overwhelming amount of, different historical, philosophical.
Yeah, cool. So this is all the earthquakes that happened in Texas so far today. There's one 23 minutes ago, an hour ago, 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 10 hours ago. Yeah, I don't give two flying fucks. There's no possible way that they'd be able to identify that as something that is explicitly connected to the time that Jesus died. It's not even remotely close to true. And not to mention, even if they narrowed it down to the year, they don't even know what year it was. It would need to be a particular year, like prior to 30 or something like that. Like, we don't have any idea as to what year it would need to be, because Matthew says that Jesus was born, and after he was born, King Herod was around. King Herod reigned for a long time and stopped his reign in 4 BCE or 1 BCE. So it just kind of depends on when that is. Like, this is just a guess. They're just saying, hey, we guess that an earthquake is somehow around this particular date range, but we don't know if that date range is even the date range that he supposedly died in. That is guesses on top of guesses on top of guesses on top of something that happens literally every day multiple times. That means, and this is true, jack shit.
Yeah. But this earthquakes that you're talking about, the small earthquakes, you guys are not feeling it. It's not something to a big.
There are, let's see, 2 1.9 magnitude earthquakes today in Texas. There are 2 1.8s, a 1.7, and even a 2.7 10 hours ago. So no, no.
So any buildings collapse. So far the buildings collapse.
We don't have any evidence of buildings collapsing from an
No,
earthquake.
I'm just saying, like, normally when you have a pretty like
Where is
bad...
evidence that people experienced buildings collapsing at the time of Jesus' supposed crucifixion? There's no evidence of that. That would be something people would write about, and no one ever wrote about it. I mean, it says in the Bible that the curtain was torn in half. No one ever writes about that. It says as well that, like, because of the earthquake, like, bodies came out or people came out of the tomb. No one ever writes about that. So, I mean, you're just kind of talking about this supernatural event and trying to say that it happened when, no, we don't have any evidence of literally any piece of it. No one has any evidence of when he actually died, let alone that there was an earthquake at the same time.
It would be narrowed down to 33 AD, the year that
No,
he
it
died.
wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. There's no evidence of that.
According to the sources that I have used...
Why would it be 33?
Yeah. Say that again?
Why would it be 33?
I'm going by the sources given by Pontius Pilate from that sort of thing, and scholars.
Oh my God! Pontius Pilate doesn't give any. We don't have anything from Pontius Pilate.
It's we can agree to disagree. It's not an issue.
No, we're not going to agree to disagree. History is history. We do not have anything from Pontius Pilate. We don't have any writings from Pontius Pilate. We have proof of him that he existed, but we do not have writings from him. That's not how that works.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not an issue. I hope you have a lovely day and look after yourself.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Let's see. Super chat over there, $2 from Helping MAGA Deconstruct, said, "What a queefing doofus for not seeing Breaking Bad." I just haven't seen it. It's just, it does not. It just doesn't interest me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if I watch TV, I want to laugh. I get told that I'm going to go to hell like a billion times in here. I'm going to laugh. I don't want to deal with Walt White's problems. All right. BTN, Beyond the Narrative. What you got? Oh, you're muted at the moment. Let me unmute.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going good. What you got?
Alright, well, I do have some points, but first things first, you're making a claim, right? You're claiming that Jesus or Paul never existed.
Yep.
So can you substantiate that claim?
Yep. You can't be born 10 years before you're born, and Matthew and Luke are at least 10 years apart for the birth story of Jesus.
Okay, I agree that the Gospels are contradictory. The Gospels are not reliable.
Okay, well, there you go.
But the Gospels are still a historical source.
No,
Doesn't
not
mean
at
that
all.
everything there has to be reliable and has to... I don't believe they're from God. Just
Okay,
so you know,
well, you'd have to be able to corroborate it with something else. What?
What do you mean you have to corroborate it with something
Yeah,
else?
if there is a story that includes bullshit, and so therefore the version of that person that's in the story didn't exist, the only real way to say that that person existed in some fashion is to corroborate it with something else.
But wouldn't they corroborate with each other? Like, okay,
Because they contradict with each other.
I agree they contradict with each other. But
Okay, well then
they're
there you
still
go.
both claiming that he existed.
Cool.
So doesn't
And there's
that
multiple takes on
corroborate?
Deadpool, and they claim that he existed, I guess, so I guess Deadpool
It's a
exists.
fictional character. No
What the hell are you driving, dude? Are you dropping off your mom at, like, the pool or something? Like, what's going on?
No. I'm in the truck. I'm in the passenger seat. Why is it? Is it
Yeah,
loud?
what kind of truck is it?
It's just an old shitty truck.
Made by who? Mac? Like,
I Isuzu.
Jesus Christ. Sounds like you're driving a
Look,
fully
if
manual.
it's too loud, I'll come back later.
Yeah, it definitely is. Sounds like
Okay,
you're
no worries, man.
inside of a Peterbilt.
I'll come back later. I'm gonna be out of the truck in about 20 minutes. I'll come back up.
Like, out of what? Like, out of the muffler? Like, goddamn.
Okay. okay?
Okay. Anyways, Jake, how's it going? Damn, son, where'd you find that? Trapaholics. All right, Jake, what you got? I don't know if Jake is even aware that Jake is up here. We got Seep. What's going on? I don't know what was going on with that guy's truck, but
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
okay. Might be out of his mom's muffler by then. Oh God. All right, C, are you there? Because I don't hear you or Jake. Bro was driving Chitty Chitty Bang Bang out of there. Oh, it's funny. That's funny. Fucking Dick Van Dyke over here. Did you know Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was written by Ian Fleming? The guy who wrote the James Bond novels? My life will be complete if the next James Bond movie has him driving not an Aston Martin, but Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. All right, C, are you there? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. All right, sounds good, buddy. Jake, I'll invite you to unmute your microphone yet again.
And boom goes the dynamite.
All right. A super chat over there from the prototype $1.99 says, say hi to your Bree for me. I don't even really know what that means, but that is 5 mentions of Bree there. That's not bad. That is not bad. That's not bad. That's not Jake. Only our Jake is a real Jake. That's a good point. That was a different Jake. That was Jake the Snake. All right. Gage, it looks like. All right. Gage, what you got?
What's up, man?
Not
you
a lot,
gaming?
not a lot. Yeah.
Hey, I
got
got
for us
the
today?
105 of this year's fantasy football draft. Who should I take?
I don't play fantasy football. I've got friends who are sober. So what you got for us today?
If that was about it, then not much else, man.
Nah, I played fantasy football one time and hated it because it had me rooting against my own team. I can't do it. Can't do it.
No, I low-key hate that aspect as well. Hey, go Broncos and God bless you, man. I don't know how to get out of here.
But at least like the Elway or Manning Broncos. Maybe not the... Who is that quarterback that fucking... The Wilson Broncos? Like, come on. Get that shit out of here. Okay. All right. Bo Nix is legit. Like, yeah, he's fine. The Tebow Broncos. Oh, gosh. Don't be talking about my Broncos. I'm coming to Texas. All right. Don't bring up that year. We got Bo Nix now. Yeah, Bo Nix is good. He's good. He's good. He's definitely good. All right. If you got any evidence, anyone see Philly sports fan? No. Call your local bars, everybody. Be the third unofficial CBJ meetup. Yeah, that is very true, Nate. One of the best things that I've ever seen from an NFL player was when it was like for the for practice or something like that. It was preseason, or maybe for a preseason game or something like that. Russell Wilson showed up in a Russell Wilson like shirt. Like he wore his own like jersey or whatever. Like like not like an official jersey, but like it's like a shirt that was like what a fucking dweeb. Like, come on. All right, you gotta go to an FC Dallas game. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm an American, and in America, we do it properly. We care about soccer once every 4 years. All right? That's about the same amount of time that we care about gymnastics or volleyball or running. Or curling, yeah. Did you know that MLS is the third most watched sports league? In prison?
And boom goes the dynamite.
Okay. Swimming. Yeah, swimming is another one. Queen Liquid Dr. Jim says, I'm back. No, in the U.S. All right, we got somebody coming up. I'm sure that this person's got some evidence for Jesus or Paul, and yes, it was a reference. Google it. I don't feel like Googling it and putting the MLS up on my search engine, my search history. No telling what kind of weird prawn I'll be sent after that. All right, Mr. Monopoly, what you got?
I just had some. I'm not really here to debate. I just wanted to understand some things. So how much of your argument relies on your
on my what?
Silo research.
Relies on it? Very little.
So like if your silo research was critiqued, which I believe it is, if you were to like throw that out, would you still have a strong claim to say?
Yeah. That's why you don't hear me talking about it all the time, is because we can make the claims, we can make the argument without ever mentioning stilometry.
Gotcha. Okay. So you would agree that your stilometry research is questionable or has been?
No, you can actually read the book that came out after ours, which tells you that it would be stupid to assume that Paul actually wrote 7 letters and that they actually come from a person named Paul. This is from Dr. Benjamin White, uses the exact same software that we use, and his book is called Counting Paul. It came out in 2025. Also, we've been cited, as well as Benjamin White, multiple times by multiple scholars there, with the most recent one, M. David Litva. That scholar actually reached out to us because of our stilometry work. So, okay. I mean, whatever. But that being said, what else you got?
No, so I just asked a question. So I guess from my research, the critique of your style of research is that I don't want to feel like I'm attacking you, but they're essentially alluding to the fact that it seems shady because it's not repeatable /
It is repeatable. That's why people have repeated it. That's why people actually reached out to us, like M. David Litva, and repeated it. It is repeatable. It's just the people who say that it's not have never actually given a shot.
Okay, so what I heard was that
it is repeatable. And anybody who tells you that it's not repeatable either isn't a data scientist, doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about, or hasn't given it a shot.
Obviously, you know who I'm referring to.
I have no idea who you're referring to.
Godless engineer.
Oh, okay.
That whole like panel of historians / data scientists that like critiqued your work. I know it's funny.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What would you say to their arguments?
Say what?
What would you say to their arguments?
They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. The data scientist that they have, I think his name is it Adam or Ethan or something like that? Adam Adair, maybe? He doesn't have anything to do with stilometry. He's a data scientist, sure, in the sense that Godless Engineer is an engineer. I don't know what of. It could be of planes, it could be of rockets, or he could be a domestic engineer and be a stay-at-home mom. I don't give a shit. Engineering is very broad. Data science is fairly broad as well. But, I mean, okay. Like, they're still wrong about the stilometry, and an actual respected scholar, because of those people, the only scholar, I guess, would be like Richard Carrier, and a respected scholar that can actually get a job in academia, reached out to us for our work specifically in stellometry and repeated our work. So I don't know what the fuck to tell you, man.
So the claim that you can't actually deduce who's writing what based on, like, I guess, a limited number of characters or whatever.
Yeah, like if the limit was way too small or something, but considering the fact that the actual mathematician behind the distance formulas that we use says that he gets accuracy as low as 100 words, I don't give two shits what Dick Carrier and Adair and Gerd Engineer has to say about it.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I guess that's all.
Also, I'd like to point out that allegedly, Richard Carrier sexually harassed 7 women. Allegedly.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can look it up.
I mean, but
there's an entire website with receipts, but again, that is allegedly.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of relevant. But
yeah.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Polenta Forest, $2 that says, you're from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room. Anyways, hi, Bree, is what Polenta says. You guys do know, just so you're aware that I'm not married to Bree, right? Like, because, like, I know that that's a running joke. I don't want anybody else to, like, think, like, Bree's a lovely lady, but I a completely different person. I think it's because Vice came up here and said, I went to a concert with Bree. I saw your wife. Those are two separate human beings. Two separate human beings. All right. Casper, he's from Jackson, Saudi Arabia. Mrs. Bree BJ. That's funny. Oh, by the way, Virtue 2 Feral is in the chat, everybody. Virtue 2 Feral is in the chat. Virtue 2 Feral is brought to you today by Alphabet. Alphabet Incorporated. We used to be Google, but then we decided to take everything. Everything. How much? Everything. Alphabet. All right, let's see. Did you know Peggy is short for Margaret? I thought it was, no. I don't know if I ever think. I want everything to. Let's see. Did the ancient Egyptians exist? Yep. Bree before York. Is it a Marcion versus Paul kind of thing? I don't know. If you showed your wife in camera, we'd believe you. Well, she's not here right now. She's not here right now. I do have to leave in just a bit, but she's not here right now. Yeah, jag vet det. Ridiculous. Does your wife go to a different school? No, she's not here now. She's not here right now. All right, she might. I don't know. Actually I heard the door. I think she might be somewhere in the house. I have no idea. Just lives in Canada. My wife. All right. Let's see. We do have somebody who's coming up here. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Retson? I think maybe Retson.
Yes.
All right, Retson. What you got for us today, man?
I'm gonna focus more on Paul.
Paul.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. So.
Do you think that we have historical evidence for Paul?
I would say Ignatius of Antioch.
Do you think that we have historical evidence of Paul?
I would say we have historical textual evidence.
So it's historical evidence.
Yeah.
All right, you guys know what time it is.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Name me one non-Christian in antiquity who mentions Paul.
Oh, why would that be required?
I will open it up. But first you got to admit that we don't have a non-Christian in antiquity who mentions Paul.
I don't see why that would matter.
I understand. Admit that we don't have one, and then I'll open it up to Christians.
I don't know of any. But I'm not. But I'm not
Correct.
gonna
That's because
just
we don't
say
have
that.
any. There is never a non-Christian in antiquity who mentions Paul, except for maybe people who are just talking about the texts that the Christians have. All right, that's it. And the first time that that possibly even gets brought up is like in the 3rd century or something like that. Now I'd like for you to name a Christian who says that they knew Paul personally.
I was just gonna bring up Ignatius of Antioch.
That's fine. Do we have any Christians who personally knew Paul?
I wasn't. I was just coming in to mention that, to say that Ignatius of Antioch.
Yeah.
Writes in,
Does
like, the early
Ignatius say
2nd
that he
century.
personally knew Paul?
Well, he was a student of John the Apostle.
Does he say he's a student of John the Apostle?
Well, can I just say my point?
I mean, you're making points. Back it up. Does he say that he is a student of John the Apostle?
I can't think of any letter on the off the top of my
Correct.
head.
Ignatius does not say that. So now that you haven't named a Christian who says that they knew Paul, let's go 2 degrees of separation like you were attempting to do. I want you to give us the name of a text where a Christian author that we know of says that they knew someone who knew Paul personally.
Ignatius of Antioch.
Ignatius of Antioch says
And
that he knew John?
In his right, Ignatius of Antioch.
Does he say he
in
knew
his
John?
Right, I would appreciate if I'm not interrupted.
Okay. Well, I want you to give me the name of the person that Ignatius says he knows who knew Paul.
In Ignatius's letter to the Ephesians, he mentions Paul's correspondence, which
Cool.
means that
Does
the
he
tradition,
know Paul, or does he know anyone who knew Paul?
I would appreciate it if you would allow
I would
me
appreciate
to,
if you'd
finish.
answer questions. Because I don't care what you think Ignatius talks about. If Ignatius doesn't say it, you can't use it as evidence.
Well, he does just mention Paul. He's writing in the early 2nd century. Like,
What is your
first
evidence that
decade.
Ignatius was writing in the 1st decade of the 2nd century?
That would be, you know, this
Well,
isn't
you
in
brought
good
up
faith.
Ignatius. You brought up Ignatius.
No, this isn't in good.
It
this
is.
isn't-
You
you're
brought
not-
up Ignatius. Prove to me
You're
that
not
Ignatius was
acting in
writing in
good
this.
faith.
No, you brought up Ignatius. I'm literally talking about your source, your evidence, and he left. He's gone, everybody. That's what they do. That is what they do when you push them a little bit on Paul, guys.
Now that's what I call a Texas barbecue.
Flawless victory. Fatality.
All right. If anybody has any evidence for Jesus or Paul, I'd like to hear it. That guy came in wanting all of the smoke on Paul, and he got all of the smoke. All right. That was a good old ass one. Damn, boy. All right. Don't be scared. Fucking Jesus Christ. You know what? I'm scared of you. Like, I'm legitimately scared of you. Elise, if that's your real name. Yeah, we heard about Dolly, yeah. Damn. Damn, Sebastian. Jesus. All right. I'm actually curious. Will that? No. That's funny. So I know what you said, Sebastian, and I was curious because I was like, I wonder if you can translate that, and TikTok won't translate it. He's afraid of a little girl. You're a little girl. If you're a little girl, I can't bring you up. He's running. I can't run if we never started the race. New Oppo, pretty much. I am scared. Yeah, pretty much. I'm
just
scared of
small.
two women.
The comment was because I'm small. How dare you have these conversations when Dolly Parton is no longer with us?
We actually had a moment of kind of like silence. I took my hat off and everything. It played the entire.
Can you do it again? Because there's tears in my eyes. I never expected this.
You never expected an 80-year-old woman to pass away?
No, I didn't.
What did you think, she was going to live forever?
Yes. Just like Jesus. So here's my here's today. You ready? We have Mara Bar Serapian.
Are you actually making arguments for this? Like, what the hell is going on?
What else am I gonna do?
I don't know. Maybe, like, wipe your tears out of your eyes and let me continue on talking to a whole bunch of people who actually sincerely believe that Jesus existed?
Who said I didn't believe Jesus existed?
All right, let me ask you straight up. Do you think Jesus existed 2,000 years ago, walking around in the desert as the New Testament claims?
Yes.
Fuck. All right.
Mara Bar Serapian.
Mara Bar Serapian's written in the middle of the 2nd century. It's talking about Bar Kokhba. It's not talking about Jesus. It doesn't say Christians. It doesn't say Christ. It doesn't say Jesus. And it says that the Jews live in complete dispersion because their kingdom was abolished immediately afterwards. That doesn't happen in 30. It doesn't even happen in 70. It happens in 130s because Emperor Hadrian drives the Jews out of Judea, banishes them, says they can only come back one time. It's for the Passover. And on top of that, renamed Judea to Syria, Palestina, which is where we get the name Palestine. So very clearly, this is about Shimon Bar Kokhba. It says the wise king, and it doesn't say that he's still alive in any capacity, which is weird because if somebody talked about Jesus, they would know that he comes back to life in the paragraph after he dies.
Can you write that on the board for me? Just give me a tally mark. I don't think we've gotten that one yet. You ready? All right, keep the marker. You ready? We've got Lucian of Samosata.
What?
Lucian of Samosata. Why are you looking like that?
I don't know if this is a joke or not.
Oh, no, this is a real person.
No, I don't know if you're joking.
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
Oh my God, look, Lucian of Samosata, give me your reputation.
Okay,
He was
Lucian of
satirist, and
Samosata wrote as early as 166. He writes the passing of Peregrinus, which is what you're probably referring to, or the death of Peregrinus, depending on the translation. And it talks about a guy who was a patricidal con man named Peregrinus Proteus, who grifted the Christians in the early to mid 2nd century and wrote their books for them, as Lucian says, and edited others. He also wrote letters to different cities. He calls the Christians miserable wretches and gullible fools.
What if I told you that there are no surviving non-Christian historical documents or eyewitness accounts written during the actual lifetime of Jesus Christ?
Then I would tell you that I have no idea why you were up here arguing for Jesus.
Because I'm trying to distract myself.
From Dolly? All right. Look. I don't know how legit that is, but nevertheless, this is not...
I'm really sad about this, Jaren.
What the fuck? This is... What the hell is going on?
What about Suetonius?
You've already admitted that this is not sincere. I talk about Suetonius all the time.
Oh, you do? Is he on the board?
All right, Suetonius does not say Jesus, it does not say Christ. It says Christian, so very clearly he knows how to spell Christ, but in the other reference that everybody says, it says Christus.
Yes, Christus.
Yeah, so Christus isn't Christus. and crisis isn't Jesus.
What if he couldn't spell? There is a literacy crisis in America.
He could spell because he spelled the word Christians later on.
I'm sure there's words you've spelled wrong. You look a little dyslexic.
Bitch, what the fuck does that even mean?
Sometimes I just want to see if I can evoke an emotional reaction out of you. Flavius Josephus.
Okay, no, what? Okay, she left. All right. Drop her ableist. No, she's not. It wasn't sincere. It was like, okay. Fair enough. I didn't look a little. How does someone look dyslexic? That's not even a thing, is it? Can you see dyslexia on somebody? I think that's just a thing. Dang it, I forgot the shroud. Didn't even say doofus. Jen has a weakness for sassy women. No, I'm nervous because I don't know what they're going to say next. Rip grandma. I can see the dyslexia in your eyes. They're very confused. He's got that dyslexia hair. She's grieving. We won't judge grief. I think she is. I assume. I don't know. Her cry did sound legit. And then all of a sudden she snapped out of it. It sounded like, I don't know. I don't know shit about anything anymore. All right. Jaren gets so rattled when confused. Yeah, I do. Okay. $5 from Gabe and then Horn and then Rules. Not going to say that name too terribly fast. $5 says, I had a nightmare. Dolly was my mom. It was a nightmare because I was a bottle baby. I guess it's a dad joke. I guess so. I guess it is. I'm an adult concert? What are you talking about? You mean convert? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the chicken tally. There were no chickens. There was a couple chickens there for like a day. It was weird. All right, stop talking about people with dyslexia. Some people have dyslexia. It's a legitimate thing. I was just laughing because I don't think that you can see that on a person. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, but still. All right. Yeah, there were two guests who came up like in a row or something like that with chickens. It was really strange. It was at least in the same day. $4.99 from Tracy, formerly Yanto, says, "Hi, my favorite handsome cowboy. I'm not going to say the Q word today." Well, thank you, Tracy, formerly Yanto. I don't even know what that means. Why are you saying formerly Yanto? Like, I don't know. Do I want to know? Bree says mermaids exist. Oh, okay. Well, that's what you're getting there. Is that her maiden name? Maybe. I don't know. And it's not a her. Is she? Tracy said it was a he went by he. So I don't know. I guess guys can have maiden names too. I don't know. $1.99 from the prototype says, "I'll say it for them. Queef." Asshole. Bree says rude because I muted her for 5 seconds. This just in, guys. Bree can't stay quiet for 5 seconds. All right. Did you just mute her? Yeah. Mad Dog. Yeah, Mad Dog's requesting up. Little Orphan Mad Dog, how's it going? Mad Dog doesn't even know he's here. That's the best part. Oh, this is awesome.
Sometimes when I wipe, I'll wipe and I'll wipe and I'll wipe and I'll wipe 100 times. Still poop. Still poop. Let me check that. It's like I'm wiping a marker or something.
All right. Let's see. Then we have I had it requested again. I think it's just his pocket. Helping Maga deconstruct $2 says, sub to Bree, can you queef your way to heaven, doofus? What? What? Okay, so that's a Bree. It's a doofus. And it's also a Q word. That I don't no, you can't. I don't think so. And Osman 8085 $1.99 says, "Are you agnostic? If not, what is your stance?" So am I agnostic to a bunch of different things? Yeah, I'd say so. And if not, what is your stance? Honestly, when I first started out, it was goofy. I can't explain it, but I ultimately regular did end up feeling more comfortable over time. Unless you're talking more specifically to drums. All right. I don't know. Maybe like wipe the tears out of your eyes and let me continue on talking to a whole bunch of people who. Are you watching me like minutes ago on in the background? The hell? I missed the pride hat. Ugh. There we go, guys. Wait, can I turn it on with? No, I can't. I can't turn it on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but you were like watching me in the background or something?
I'm trying to connect on my phone. Yeah.
It was like
okay.
a good 5 or 6 minutes behind.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That sucks. Anyways, I am gonna anchor on Paul.
You're gonna what?
Anchor on Paul. I believe Paul was a real person.
You think that Paul was real?
Historically real person. Yes. And
why?
Well, why? Because we have we don't have many outside sources, non-Christian sources that mention Paul by name because of course.
So we don't have any? Is that what you said?
We don't have. I don't know of any personally that mention him by name, but I don't think we need that for him to validate his authenticity, because of when we look at the manner of his writing, example, the book of Romans, First Corinthians, Galatians, Philippians, Thessalonians, Philemon. When we look at this book, we see that they are very, very personal, and these stories are written within AD 50, about 20 years, 30 years after Jesus' death. And we find that he was dealing with issues like communities, like real disputes, stuff like travel plans and like ordinary, like mundane things. And most of the book of Galatians also was very, it deals, it's so personal with the way he talks about collection of offerings from different congregations, and just the way he deals with Paul's teachings. And so this, like the way he writes and the way the book is, the way his writings are, you can tell that this is not some, he knew people that he was talking about. He knew personal information about people he was talking about, and you can tell that this person was genuinely caring for the people he's writing to. So, like with that, you know that he actually existed.
Because he cares, and
because
mundane things are
style,
mentioned.
yes, because the writing style in all the books are consistent to this particular one individual.
The
Like
writing style is different even in certain texts.
no, if you take the book of Romans, First
Mhm.
Corinthians, Galatians, Philippians, Philemon, and you see the way he writes and the way he addresses himself, it is consistent with
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
with character.
considering the fact that we have iterations of Paul's letters that show up in 144 that don't have certain sections of these letters, that means that it's multiple authors within these texts.
And what is one of these texts you're talking about that is different? Because the Bible
They're much more stripped down. It's the Marcionite versions of them that get published in 144. And multiple church fathers acknowledge that Marcion was the first to publish these letters.
Okay,
So the fact that they are different means that that's a problem.
So what do you mean by different? Define different. Or what
They
do you
don't
mean?
have everything that you're talking about in there.
Okay.
They don't
you
have all the
understand that?
information from the canonical
Sure,
version.
Sure. I get that. But do you understand that the church was under heavy persecution and many
No,
of the
we don't have any evidence that the church was under heavy
Yes, we
persecution in
do.
the first century.
Have you
Where do we have any evidence for that?
Have you read Fox's Book of Matter?
Have you read Candida Moss's book, The Myth of Persecution?
Okay, have you read? Do you want to go reading? Right?
Cool.
Like,
Well, we don't have any evidence. I don't care who writes about it, but we don't have any evidence that anybody in the first century was persecuted for being a Christian solely.
Eusebius recorded that Ignatius
You
of
mean
Antioch.
Eusebius?
I call him Eusebius.
Eusebius is literally an admitted liar who writes in the 4th century.
Well, too. We do not. Okay, you can say he's a liar, but he
says he is. I mean, he argues for the idea of lying to advance a particular belief.
Okay, see, when we look at most of what he says, they're accurate, right? Like you cannot say because someone, everyone has an agenda, right? Of course, people have an agenda, but if you look at other people that knew Paul, example, Ignatius of Antioch did not know Paul directly, but he knew John because Justin
Does
Martyr.
Ignatius say that he knew John?
Well, not particularly.
Okay. Well, it just kind of sounds like you're just believing other people.
No. Irenaeus of Lyon
Mhm.
mentioned that he was a student of Ignatius of Antioch, and he
No,
mentioned
he said
that
he was a student of Polycarp.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Yes, my bad. So he was of Polycarp, and Polycarp was student of John, and Polycarp
Does
talked
Polycarp
about
say that he knew John?
Irenaeus
Does
mentioned
Polycarp say that he knew John?
Irenaeus mentioned that Polycarp talked about John very
Okay. When does Irenaeus write?
Irenaeus wrote around 177.
No, he wrote about 180 to 185.
Wait. No. Irenaeus wrote around 177. I'll
No,
look.
180 to 185.
Let's fact check that.
Okay.
Irenaeus was born 130 and he died around 202.
Okay. So do you think that he was a student of Polycarp when?
When particularly, I don't know when particularly he was student of John, but in his
Polycarp.
Of Polycarp, but in his writings,
Mm-hmm.
he mentioned Polycarp being at the foot of John as John recount tales of Jesus Christ that he himself was able to witness, right? So he was a student.
No, he just says that Polycarp was a hearer of John. Doesn't say anything about being at the feet of John.
Well, no, I can. If you read this, what's his name? I believe it was what's his name? What's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Yeah, I can't remember his name right now. My memory fails me right now. But also, okay, I mean, well, we cannot, if we don't agree on that, I hold my convictions that Polycarp said that that he held John very fondly, and if he talks about the Apostle John and Paul himself also mentioned John as one of the people he met in Rome.
We don't have anybody who says that they knew Paul personally or John personally, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, Peter said he knew John.
We don't have anything from Peter. Acts says that he's illiterate anyways.
We do in the book of Second Peter. We do.
No.
Yes,
it says in Acts 4:13 that Peter was illiterate.
No, come on. Peter said that's some of the things that John writes.
No, it explicitly says Peter and John are illiterate in Acts 4:13.
In what? Show me
in
that.
Acts 4:13, it says that Peter and John are illiterate.
Pull up the text.
Yeah.
Okay. And they to look on Peter, fearless spoken, and also discovered that they were literate person untrained in school. Oh, okay, so calm down. Now, see, bro, do you understand? If you read the context of that passage, it is because of
the context of the word agrammatoi is that it means agrammatoi.
Yes,
it means without writing.
But towards what? Because they were not trained. See, they were surprised the way this man spoke. Because
they didn't read about it.
Because they were not trained in the formal way of the Judeans. Normally, to be a
this
speaker,
part might mean untrained in the schools, but this part means illiterate.
See, a person that's not trained in the academic of the Pharisees was considered illiterate and unschooled.
Give me evidence of that.
That's the context of the
Substantiate
culture, bro.
your claim. Substantiate your claim.
Okay. Tell me what they thought about
Substantiate your claim that simply the word illiterate just means that they weren't trained in Jewish schools, or that somebody who wasn't trained in Jewish schools was called illiterate. Give me any evidence of that.
Well, that's what they call Christ. They call Jesus illiterate.
When did they call Jesus illiterate? He's clearly capable of reading.
Yes, when he went back to his hometown
and was reading, they called him illiterate.
The term they used was, "Is this not John? I'm sorry, is it not Jesus and his mother Noah? Like, where did he learn these things from? Is that same language they were using because they were surprised?
No, did they call him illiterate?
Well, not in those particular words.
Yeah, no, they don't. So please show me, because you made a claim that people who weren't trained in Jewish schools were called illiterate. Give me evidence of this.
So tell me what they call the barbarians, like the Jews, like what they call the Samaritans. They call them dogs. Is this language?
Cool. Is that the word illiterate?
I'm giving you the language, the system. Like
you said, and I quote, if someone wasn't trained in the Jewish schools, they called that person illiterate. Prove it.
Well, I cannot prove that. Like,
okay. Well, then I don't know why you made the claim.
Wait. I cannot prove that outside source. But when you read do
you have an inside source that says it?
When you read the Bible and you read the
and how many times do we have the word agrammatoi in the Bible?
I don't know, but I don't know particularly. But my point is, when you look at the way the Pharisees treat this, they were surprised that these men were fishermen, right?
Cool. So when does it say that they're called illiterate other than this time?
Okay.
Illiterate means illiterate, by the way.
Okay. I still believe, I still hold to the idea that what that meant is that because they were surprised that where did this man get the power from? And I believe in God. I believe that God can do anything. They spoke in tongues, right?
Cool. Awesome. So you're appealing to magic here?
I'm not appealing to magic. See, you cannot classify miracles under magic. You
can. That's exactly what it is. You just don't call it magic.
And these men were with Christ for 3 years. That's how long it takes you to study.
Awesome. To learn magic?
Not to learn magic, but to learn the truth about the Word of God.
Okay, cool. Right. So did Jesus teach them how to read?
He taught them how to read the scriptures.
Okay. So then they wouldn't be illiterate. Why'd they use the word illiterate then? And also they would have been trained by somebody who you think is the high priest.
Bro, we use hyperboles in a sense. So sometimes when we are trying to make a point, like I'm surprised that this.
Yeah, kind of like when you made a point and you tried to say that anybody who didn't go to a Jewish school was called illiterate. You were trying to make a point, but you weren't being literal because that was pulled out of your ass. And now you won't admit that was pulled out of your ass.
the Jews have in
Sweet.
this instance.
You don't have one instance of the word agrammatoi anywhere else in the Bible except for in this particular in this particular verse. So
You're
give
trying
me
to-
evidence that the word illiterate was used for anyone who was outside of the Jewish schools.
Okay, sorry I said that.
Okay, so it was wrong.
Okay, it was wrong to some extent. Okay, but if you let me clarify what I'm trying to
So
say.
was it wrong?
Sure, it was wrong to say
Okay,
that.
cool. So when it
all the
says that
Jews-
they are illiterate, what does that mean? Does that mean they're illiterate?
It's an hyperbole. Okay. Now,
Okay,
we
how
do-
did you
we do-
determine that when it says they discovered that they were illiterate, it means that they discovered that they weren't illiterate?
Because of when you read the full chapter, you understand that Peter and Paul.
I have
were
read the
doing-
full chapter. What are they
Yes.
saying there? What are they
They were-
doing in that
they were
instance?
doing-
What are they
they were-
doing?
They were doing acts that's so wonderful that you expect the Pharisees and the
No,
scribes to do.
no, they weren't even around Pharisees. That shows me that you don't know the chapter.
No, I'm saying that.
So what's going on in the chapter? Now that you're able
bro.
to confidently tell me that I don't know about the chapter, tell me about the chapter.
Bro,
Tell me
calm
what they're
down,
doing.
calm down. Okay, I'll tell what.
Tell me what they're doing in that chapter.
I believe that they are just finished doing a miracle and
No.
and preaching the word.
The miracles
And-
are not found in there. So it shows me that you have no idea what you're talking about. You're just trying to argue against something that you disagree with, but you don't actually know any information about it, which is why you pulled shit out of your ass and you had to admit it. So we're
No.
going to go ahead and move on. Thank you very
No,
much
wait.
for coming up. Now, I did want to... Oh, okay. Cool. So really fast. We got a super chat, and then I've got to hop off. But we've got $4.99 from Tracy. Formerly Ianto says, I'm a gay man. My name is Tracy, but I used to use Ianto for gaming. Okay, then changed it to my real name. Oh, so there we go. There's the question to all, or there's the answer to all the questions that we had there about this elusive Tracy. That's funny. All right. So that being said, thank you very much for swinging by, and thank you to anybody and everybody who stuck around longer than 30 seconds. 35-second gang, rise up. And thank you for sticking around after all the weird internet troubles that I had there for a while. It was very, very strange. I'm not really sure exactly what was going on. But thank you. Thank you for sticking around. So yeah, I will be live tomorrow morning about 9:30. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out, Girl Scout. Put me down for some Thin Mints. Now, over there on YouTube, thank you very, very much for the super chats. And thank you for anybody who is a member over there. Big shout out to the members over there on YouTube. We cannot thank you enough. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, I apologize for the weird internet problems that I was having earlier. If you are watching and you're like, oh, hey, I didn't have a chance to get my questions answered or anything like that or come up, I take guests on TikTok, so just shoot me a subscription really quick, and then you can actually click the link in the chat that gets populated every once in a while, and come over to TikTok the next time I'm live. So yeah, thank you very much for hanging out, everybody. You've been Tube. I've just been CBJ. See you guys. See you guys later, or see you later, guys. Either way, I tried to say it all at the same time.